This week on the Jock and Nerd Podcast, the ginger geek Matt Delhauer returns to help us review the Daredevil Born Again finale and Ryan Coogler's latest movie, Sinners. Plus, thoughts on the latest episode of The Last of Us and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, April 21st, 2025.
This is Jason Mewes, and for reasons best left between you and your therapist, you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Snooch to the nooch. Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
We jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
What's up, listener? How's it going? Thank you for pressing play and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
And joining us, he is my own personal creative muse, and he's also a sinner. So it all works out. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Forgive me, Pope. I never knew ye.
R.I.P. They'll find a new one. I've seen Conclave. It's fine.
Yeah, there's going to be
Very easy.
voting going on and all kinds of fun stuff.
Also, we have another special guest joining us. You know him, you love him, friend of the show, the ginger geek himself. It's Matt Delhauer. What's up, buddy?
Oh, hiya, boys. I was hoping you'd invite me into your podcast for the night.
Oh, Mr. Remick, you're going to have to do the whole show in the Irish accent. It's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, thank you.
Delhauer, thanks for joining us this week. I know usually when the listener hears your voice, it's with a lot of disdain and frustration.
Just me getting real upset about things and people and what they do.
Yes, as you recap a bad movie for our What the Fuck Happened series that everybody loves, but once in a while, I like to bring you on to talk about things you like. Because
once in a blue moon.
Yes.
And it's so far, I think twice now, it's been Daredevil.
Yes, which is the other thing he likes. So it'll be nice to get a positive spin on things. Speaking of Daredevil, it's one of the two awesome things we are going to be reviewing this week, fellas. Let's just start the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Daredevil Born Again has completed. We are going to be discussing the whole season, the finale. Here's your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
And it is just crazy that like 10 years after the Netflix show debuts, we get kind of a fourth season of Daredevil on TV. It's kind of crazy. Let's start with Anthony.
Oh, shit.
I want to hear from you. We've been talking about the show as the weeks have gone by, but why don't you can you give us a quick recap of episode 9 and what kind of happens?
Episode 9 picks up where episode 8 left off, where Poindexter, Bullseye, is trying to shoot Kingpin, but he shoots Matt instead because Matt jumps in front of the bullet. And because this happens, Kingpin uses this as his inciting incident to just take over New York and basically put his Gestapo out to hunt vigilantes, and they have this plot to black out the city and just make everything hell. And because of this incident, Daredevil's in the hospital, and Kingpin also tries to use this as a way to kill him while he's in the hospital. And Daredevil has to get the help of Punisher and Karen to combat some of these police officers. While this is happening, we find out that Bullseye was hired by Kingpin's wife because Foggy was on to the fact that there's this little piece of land that is not owned by anyone and is really just lawless, that Kingpin can just run his entire business out of, or was running his entire business out of. And now that he's mayor, he can run his entire business out of there and still and make it even bigger, basically. So the series has a lot of action. Not getting into all the details here just yet, but it ends on a cliffhanger where now Kingpin has basically taken over the city.
Yeah.
And people are following him because they're cleaning up the streets, and Kingpin can do whatever he wants. He's eliminated some of his enemies. He's jailed some of his enemies, and Daredevil Matt Murdock has to assemble an army because he can't do this alone to try to take him down in the next season.
And everyone is born again. As it were.
Yeah. Well, they all got baptized, right?
Except
Yes.
for anybody who's now dead.
Yes, except for the dead people, they're still dead. Everyone else is born again.
Well, if they're dead, they are born again. They're just in
True.
the afterlife.
Yes,
Oh,
everybody gets a
okay.
rebirth.
Everyone is
Okay.
born again in some way or another. Unless you
So-
don't believe in that, then you just go in the ground.
Well,
That's where everyone's going.
yes, I'm already there. This episode 9 and episode 8, along with the first episode directed by Aaron Moorhead, Justin Benson, who kind of executive produced the series with writer, showrunner Dario Scardapane. Delhauer, have you been digging this season so far heading into the finale?
Overall, I've been really enjoying it. I've had a couple of instances here and there where I felt things were a little weaker or a little less covered in depth than I would have wanted. But I think as an overall package, I've definitely enjoyed the season.
Okay.
I can go into detail, or we can wait until we get to those moments as we go through the season recap or review, I should say.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're gonna dive into some details, but I guess let's just start. I want to know overall from everyone, the finale, was it satisfying? Ruggs, we'll start with you.
What was it satisfying? No, because I felt like it ended on a cliffhanger. So the story's not resolved for me. But I thought it was a good episode.
Okay.
I don't know if I felt like satisfied, but I felt like that it did. I felt like it was a good penultimate episode, if you want to say that.
I mean, we already had a penultimate. How many?
I know, we had 2
penultimates?
peens.
We had 2 peens.
Basically, they gave us the double peen. And
the double peen instead of a finale.
yeah, but a finale would have been better than a cliffhanger. But I think this episode was one of the stronger ones.
Okay.
I'll give it that. I guess that's
Okay.
good.
Anthony, same question. Did it all seem like set up for season 2, or was it satisfying for you?
I didn't know that it was going to end on this is leading into season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there'd be a little bit more finality to some of the stuff. I liked the episode. I think, are we just talking about the episode or the overall season?
Just the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Rugg. I think this was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I think there's a pattern here with the good episodes, and the not so good episodes.
Yeah.
And I think the pattern is the new guy, Dario Scardapane, and the directors, Benson and Moorhead. They do a really good job with the episodes they have, and the rest of the episodes we can talk about later. But I think it was good. There were some questionable things, like I don't understand why Punisher just gets himself caught.
Yeah.
That doesn't really ring true to me, but I love seeing Punisher in it. I love seeing Karen Page back. Like, it's nice to see the band back together. It almost, if anything, having those characters back makes you just go, why the fuck did we spend time with all these other characters throughout the show? Because they all sucked.
Yes. Especially Heather Glenn.
Oh my god, the turn of Heather Glenn.
One of the worst characters.
Literally one of the worst written characters ever.
I mean, I'll put it in there as a character that you're meant to hate, and damn, do we hate her?
Okay, so
but you're meant to hate her. But I think there's a difference between I think what makes a good turn in any story is you might not agree with them, but you can understand where they're coming from. I don't understand where the hell this bitch is coming from at all.
Yeah,
they wrote her to turn.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Delhauer, was satisfying finale, or was it lacking for you?
No, overall, I think it was a satisfying finale.
Okay.
I mean, I agree that, it's a cliffhanger, so we don't get the end of the story because they decided originally they wanted to do an 18-episode season, and then they said, fuck it, we'll break it into 2.
Yeah.
So in that Infinity War Endgame style, you kind of cut it off at that point where, all hope is lost and everything's at shit right now. But I mean, I enjoyed many aspects of the episode. I think bringing back Karen was a solid choice for them. All the interactions between him and Frank, I really enjoyed. I am not that big a fan of them building a romantic triangle between him and Karen and Frank.
Right. They had that from the Netflix
I don't care
show.
for it like at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it's going to add anything other than this is their only way to try and humanize the Punisher. And that feels weak and forced.
Yeah.
To Anthony's point, I do have a concept as to why Punisher let himself get caught. And I think it plays more into him essentially being in a spot where when he told Karen and like, Matt, I'm not going to go with you. I've got stuff to do tonight.
Right.
Coming against the task force, he recognized these are the motherfuckers who are pretending to be me.
Yeah.
And knowing that they were setting a trap for him out at Red Hook, I think what it was going in and getting caught. He was able to see their numbers, see their tactics, and understand why are they pretending to be me. And then that allows him to be taken off the board. So now they aren't planning for him anymore. And now he is underestimated again.
Do you think it's a back door to try for him to kind of convince these guys to follow him?
I don't even know if it's a backdoor to try and win them over. I think it's just that because they think they've won, they're not prepped to take him on again. And so he now gets to work under the radar, and I have a feeling his standalone that's coming out in the fall is going to be like Frank Castle's jailbreak from Red Hook, where he's going to save a bunch of people from, internment there. And I am hoping we will get to see my favorite team up that has never happened, which will be the Punisher and the Swordsman fighting a bunch of people.
Oh my God, the Swordsman's there too.
But yeah, and so beyond that, I think it's satisfying. I think they did a really good job with a lot of the direction, a lot of the action set pieces were very well done. And I think it sets up for a very interesting place to really want to see the next season. But I also think that there are aspects of this that we will see that we saw in a lot of the other episodes that very clearly were built on the rewrites and reshoots that are kind of cobbled together and don't feel as fleshed out as they should have.
Yeah, now that we've seen the whole 9 seasons, like it's clear what happened.
9 episodes, but yeah.
Yeah, 9 episodes, not 9 seasons. It's just unfortunate how clear you see what happens. And, when we're talking about the whole season, you got to talk about the history of the show. Like you said, it was originally planned as more of an episodic one-off bottle episode stories, 18 episodes. And then, during the strike, it's kind of thanks to the strike, they looked at it, they stopped it, and they tried to fix it. And now I will agree, while the episode left me excited for the second season, I was kind of perturbed that it was just a lot of setup. I would like a little more closure. There was no fucking resolution. And like you said, all we learn is Vanessa hired the hit on Foggy. No resolution anywhere else. That's fine.
It feels like we spent 9 hours to be like, okay, guys, now he's Daredevil.
Exactly.
So do you think that the second season that's coming after this is they scrapped all the rest of the shit and started anew?
I don't think there was any rest of the shit.
There may be some aspects of what they were looking for that might still be in there, like with Heather now being a part of the Kingpin's, inner circle, them recruiting his other partner with the whole Red Hook Freeport paperwork that they sent to her. Like they may have some of that still in there, but I have a feeling the second season is really going to essentially be like Batman No Man's Land, but with Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like we're cut off from the rest of everybody because now we're at martial law and no one will come save New York. So it's up to New Yorkers to save New York.
Well, there is a storyline that they can base this off of. I forget what it's called. There's a storyline where was that it?
I'm just.
It might be because I've.
There's a storyline where Kingpin takes over. Sorry, real quick. Where Kingpin takes over, and Daredevil has to form an army, and it's like all the New York heroes help him out.
Well, no, because I think Shadowland is more tied to the Hand and all that stuff. But they may play some aspects into it because I know that they have had leaks from the set, and he gets another new badass black costume and all that kind of stuff, which is based off of the Shadowland book. But I don't remember the name of the title, but that the story sounds familiar, Anthony.
There's a Mayor Fisk storyline that happens, and then there is the Shadowland, and so they're probably combining these. But as far as this army that he needs, you know, a lot of people wanted Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, that Defenders. What we're showing is just like some random cops and Cherry and Agent Kim and Josie.
So it's an army right there, baby.
There's your army there.
And the 13-year-old niece of White Tiger.
Yes, White Tiger. And all the people that you see at the end, all the characters at that moment kind of have to pick a side, right? And so that begs the question, is Bullseye going to join up with Matt? Because now they have a common enemy. That's probably going to happen. If Matt goes and gets the hand, like in the Shadowlight thing, and there's ninjas to take down Mayor Fisk, that would be amazing. Let me ask you this. We're about to see Thunderbolts. Also takes place in New York City. Do you think they mention any of this or any martial law or Fisk is mayor at all in that movie? I'm just going to answer no. It's kind of annoying when they do that.
No, probably not.
No, I doubt it.
So you just have to pretend that didn't happen when you're watching Thunderbolts.
In the same way that when we see the fucking Spider-Man movie that's coming out,
right?
None of this will get mentioned. It won't, despite them calling Spider-Man out in the season
and Matt Murdock being in No Way Home.
Yeah, but because here's the problem. If they do that, it means that they then have to try and get Tom Holland to be on one of their fucking Disney Plus shows.
No way Tom Holland.
And they don't have the money to bring Tom Holland into Daredevil.
There's no way Tom Holland is showing up on a TV show. I'll tell you that right now.
I think just to pivot from this, I think we all agree this was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
I think this episode though highlights for me my issues with this season. And a lot of them are self-inflicted. So they had a terrible idea. They went, we're going to bring back Vincent D'Onofrio and Matt and what's the guy that plays Matt? Charlie Cox to play Daredevil and Kingpin. But they're not going to be, we just know that you like them.
Right.
But we're not going to have this connect to Netflix at all.
Yeah.
Stupid ass decision. It fucking bombed in their face and they had to rewrite the entire thing.
Yeah.
Because of that led to this season, in my opinion, being really uneven.
Yeah.
And you can see what the new people did very clearly versus the stuff they had to keep because they already shot it.
Right.
And the middle part of this season, in my opinion, is not good. And I think you can clearly see that. You can see the shifts in tone. You can see like random storylines get brought up.
Yeah.
And then discarded right away, like the White Tiger stuff, the Muse stuff.
Yeah, very quick.
Characters disappear, like Karen Page for the entire season.
Yeah.
And you get a
The
whole
Fiddle-Faddle guy.
Then there's the Fiddle-Faddle guy.
And then you get a whole laundry list of characters that suck. And like they're just characters. Like they're not supporting characters. They're just characters. And one of the beauties of the first three seasons was you gave a shit about every character that was on there. Every character had a compelling story.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it was really just Daredevil and Kingpin, and the show doesn't really pick up until the side characters that we give a fuck about come back. So at least for me, I was ultimately a bit disappointed in the season, but it does end on that high note where I go, okay, at least these guys that did this episode and rewrote the entire season are back,
right?
And hopefully you give them free reign to do what they want to do in that second season, and perhaps they can turn it around. But I don't think this is a very good representation of their work because they had to cobble. It's similar to even what we saw in Captain America: Brave New World. Like it's a Frankenstein show.
Yep. Yeah, because originally, I believe the idea was Foggy gets killed off screen by the corrupt cops. Muse is the main villain, and Frank has to take out the cops. So then, you know, they even to the lengths that they had someone playing Vanessa, a different actress. And then they're like, well, if we're bringing these people back, we got to reshoot all of this with the original actress. Had to reshoot all of those scenes.
Yeah.
But your comments, Anthony, throughout the weeks of like, there's no good supporting cast. Like I kept thinking that because this is a Daredevil show, but how many of us, I know I was like, I need more Frank. Where the fuck is Frank?
Well, get beyond Frank. Think BB Urich. Think of the guy with the glasses that helped Kingpin. The Agent Nadami. I mean, like all these different
Wesley. Remember Wesley?
Yeah, Wesley, the cop that helps Daredevil, and the African American cop. Like there's like Foggy. Like there's a whole page in the episode in the third season where it's just Karen Page. Like
right.
there's no one that like is new that's been added to the show where you would be like, I want to know what's going on with them.
The trouble that I've seen with a lot of the supporting characters throughout the season is that you have ones where it feels like there is a concept of what they want them to be, but they can never truly go into that because they want to do so much in so little time.
Yeah.
And there are other ones that are just really poor attempts at being a replacement for someone else. Like, everybody loved Wesley in the first season of Daredevil, but they killed him off.
Yeah.
So you can't have another Wesley.
Yeah.
So now we have Buck Cashman,
He's pretty good,
who has
Buck.
no personality.
No.
We know nothing about him. He's just fucking Wesley.
Yeah.
Which one's Buck?
Buck,
He's the right-hand man of Kingpin.
The guy-
who's
yeah.
fucking shooting people and all
shot
that.
Yeah,
Luca.
yeah.
He's got
Right.
the accent. He was
Not
about
as
to
cool
kill.
as Wesley at all.
Not as cool as Wesley.
Because Wesley had a personality, and we got to have scenes where Wesley showed who he was.
Yeah.
Buck Cashman is literally a fucking dog on a collar.
Right.
It's just, Luca's being bad, go shoot him. All right.
Yeah. Even like
There it is.
Michael Gandolfini's character, right? I thought they were going to do a little bit more with him, or he was going to use him a little bit more. He's just kind of
And-
there talking to BB and
The trouble I had with BB Urich is there is a story there to be followed in the fact that, yeah, she is certain, or at least very knowledgeable of the idea that her uncle got murdered by Wilson Fisk.
right.
And instead, the only thing we used her for was we had a couple of scenes with her and Michael Gandolfini where he's just like, you're going to be the pinpoint where we show how I'm becoming more and more of a piece of shit. And then we give her one moment in episode 8 where she basically is like, I'm a lot more of a journalist than people think I am. And then we never touch on that again.
Yeah.
The only other thing we do is we use her and her BB report as a way of trying to make the show feel like it actually takes place in New York City.
Yeah.
Because outside of doing these man on the street interviews of what do you think about Daredevil? What do you think about Fisk? Everything takes place on a fucking set.
Yeah.
And nothing feels like we are in a lived-in city.
Yeah. It's a lot of soap
Yep.
opera lighting.
Definitely. Definitely been harping on that the last few
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah. Especially this last episode. It didn't like they're cutting in
Like
scenes in
we
New
are,
York.
we are in the midst of a blackout in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And we are wound up in the hospital, the mayor's office, Matt's apartment, the street outside Matt's apartment, inside of Red Hook, fucking port, random rocks on the side of the fucking like hill outside of Red Hook,
Yeah.
and at Josie's.
Yeah.
So when all of New York has fallen into riots and a blackout, we have never once seen a shot of people on the street.
I mean,
Except for, well, no,
that
we
one
got
bit
one
with the
where the
looter.
cops shoot a dude
Yeah.
and pretend he's a
yeah.
vigilante. But even then, it's a street corner set.
Yes, absolutely. It looks like clearly.
Like, none of this
yes.
was shot on the streets of
Yeah,
New York.
yeah.
You guys can't shut down a fucking street on like 58th
Yeah.
for 20 minutes
It's the
to just have
reshoots.
people running around?
Yeah.
It's in my opinion, I believe it's from having to squeeze in a lot of filming in a very short period of time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Ruggs, I want to hear from you about the violence in this show because, to their credit, Disney did go hard. Give us one of the darkest Disney Plus shows in terms of the gore, the violence, the swearing. Did you enjoy the big moment at the end with Fisk and the shootout, the fight they have, Matt and Frank have against?
I remember distinctly going, "Oh shit, they really went there." So yeah, I'm pleased with that. I feel like it's a good look for Disney to like shed their like image of just doing stuff that's super safe.
Yeah.
When it in terms of violence and now I just need to show some boobs. Then we're
Get there.
I'm just kidding. I'm just making
Can I
it
make
so.
a comment on the violence real quick?
Yeah.
I also agree that with Ruggs that it was surprising, but also like, oh shit, they're going there, and that is brutal. Similar theme though, that violence makes me go, what the fuck was this season's tone? Because
Yeah.
there's
It's all
that
over the
violence,
place. Yeah.
and then there's Daredevil breaking someone's kneecap, but then
Yeah.
and someone getting like shot in the face, I believe,
Yeah.
at one point, or something arm broken. But then you have that episode that I know you liked it, Imran, but that episode with the bank robbery,
Right.
where it's Kamala Khan's dad and they're joking around, like it's
The
tone is just you can just tell the tone is just all over the place because there's 20 different people writing this, and I'm exaggerating, but you can clearly see it was reshot.
Well, and especially going back to the bank robbery, talking about the tone, but also talking about the disconnect between like what they shot and then what they redid.
Yeah.
The bank robbery episode was clearly part of the original run of what they did because it was one of those episodic just slice of life moments for Matt Murdock when he's not actually Daredevil. But it's also, they then connect it in with Fisk and with his crime syndicate and all that stuff with, they're getting the diamond because they want to give it to Luca so he can go paying Fisk off. But like when Matt finds that out and he gets out of the bank robbery and he chases down this fucking Irish dude into the like back alley or whatever, and he beats the shit out of him, he eviscerates this dude's kneecap.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode. And we never talk about it again.
Yes.
That guy's just gone.
Yeah. No, that's the one episode that they didn't overhaul at all. So it was just there. It was done.
One more comment on just like the tone and things. Now, even looking back on the series, again, mixed bag. It seems to me that they, you have that episode where it's super violent. You have episode 2, I believe, I think it's 2 or 3, where he saves the witness and gets back to being brutal again. And
I think it's the end of 2.
Yeah, it's 2, which I thought was a good episode.
Yeah.
But his like return to being Daredevil, I mentioned this when it happened, and I think it's even sucks even more now, where he's just like, fuck it, and just puts on the costume. Like, that is such lazy writing. And the problem with that is like you already had your in to make him Daredevil at the end of episode 2 and the end of that bank robbery episode. So either one of those, I would have not liked it after the bank robbery episode, but either one of those is him going back and doing the crime fighting and kind of enjoying it. So then have it to be like him, the scene where he just goes, fuck it, and puts it on. Like you build it up to this like epic thing, and then it's not executed very epically.
He doesn't even need to be Daredevil because he's in the sewer. He's not like in the middle of the street, like where everybody can see him.
Right. No one's going to see him take him down.
So he didn't even need to put the suit on.
It's especially so odd because the way they play it is like, okay, he has that moment where he finally gives into the violence against the 2 cops.
Right.
And like, okay, so this is, all right, Matt just fucking, Matt just quote unquote, indulged in his addiction again after a year of sobriety.
Do it then.
It's a great spot to then say, like, he realized this needs to happen.
It's him. Yeah, it's his personality.
The moment after they wind up killing White Tiger out on the street, why wouldn't he don the costume then when he's doing his investigation?
Yeah. Right.
You also have, after the bank robbery, whatever, it's just, he chased the guy down, he beat him up, and then I guess he killed him because that guy never came back. But the weird thing is they decided to make it that it was like he only became Daredevil when he had another costumed villain to chase down.
Right.
And B, we had to put a fucking child in danger.
When the girl was confirmed missing.
And at least if you're going to hold back from having him do it, you have an easy out to have him do it. It's his Catholic guilt, and he's battling that again. But they don't even... We touch on that for 10 seconds.
Right. So
when he's standing outside the church hearing everybody, but he refuses to go inside.
Like this season, it is disjointed. And the pace at times I thought was very good, but at times it's so fast. And that whole thing leading into finding Muse right away, leading into killing Muse the next episode. What the fuck? Like they just ran through it. And even the Lucas storyline, they just end up killing him anyway. So like, what was the point of all that shit? That was stuff they had to deal with. Creative overhaul. I get it.
Yeah. So I think it was hubris for Marvel to think that they could do this and not continue what Netflix did.
Hubris is the right word.
Yes.
And,
100%.
And they realized they couldn't. Yeah.
If you compare it to the Netflix series, it is a way weaker thing. It's not. It doesn't compare. It doesn't stack up.
Well, and especially in the fact that they said they were going to do this episodic tale of like one episode to the next didn't connect to each other.
Right.
And it was going to be more of just a courtroom drama. Yeah. Like, why the fuck would we watch that?
Nobody wants that.
That's not the story. That's not the character. The juxtaposition between the courtroom and the vigilante is the interesting aspect of the character.
Right.
I'll fucking watch Law and Order instead, dude.
Right. There's already a show.
It is one of those things. Rug Boy put it right with the hubris, where it's like Marvel was finally like, I get to play with my own toys,
Right.
and I'm going to play with them the way I want to.
I'm going to be so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they realized,
But, like,
yeah.
even the fact of they couldn't cast anyone else because they had already had such a good job casting Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like they were only gonna. Charlie Cox is good.
Yeah.
At Daredevil. Like they could take a chance on someone else and they could be fine, but they didn't.
Right.
They didn't do that. So what people are going to want to see Charlie Cox's Daredevil in the way that they're familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to see Charlie Cox in a new fucked up Daredevil. That's not good.
That wouldn't make no sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were thinking.
I think we dodged a bullet though, and I feel like this is better than.
Well, they figured
Oh,
it
it
out.
could have been
quick.
so much
better
worse.
than what they were going to do.
Yeah,
They figured it out, and they. I don't know. I'm just worried about the next season. If it's still tied to any of the stuff
I
did
feel like it's not going to
previously.
like now. This is the show. It's this sauce.
Well, and some of the trouble that they'll have to navigate in the second season, like Ruggs was saying about trying to disconnect from what they initially were going to do, is like things like the character of Heather.
Oh my God.
If they want to make her work in the next season,
She's died.
they need, well, I mean, even beyond she needs to die or anything like that, we need to get to know her enough
right.
to understand why she decided, like, oh, I think everyone who wears a mask's a coward. Like, okay,
She's an
interesting
idiot.
aspect.
Yeah.
Do you have backup to this?
Yeah.
No, you're just going to be a bitch about it.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Well, I think so. I love in the beginning when he's groggy and he wakes up and he says, "Karen," to Heather. I think this is probably another reason she went and she's like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go work for Fisk. He's right. Fuck you. Call me
I'm
Karen."
just, you know what? You don't love me. I'm going to go work
Yeah.
for a fucking maniac.
And I wish we got more Bullseye. We just get the flashback in the beginning and the confirmation, the whole conversation of Vanessa saying, "I'm gonna get you out of here, but you gotta do something for me," which was great. But I don't even know if we needed to see that because we all assumed that's what
we
was
already knew.
happening. Right. So what's weird about the show, and even the good episodes, 8 and 9 and 1, is like the scenes are great, but when they're cut next to these other scenes where it goes to a different part of the story, it's just weirdly jarring, and it's just something strange about it.
So, quick question for you guys.
Yeah.
Based on both episode 1 and 8 and 9, because they do it in all of them.
Yeah.
The effect that they use when they are filming Matt hearing things with his ability, where they start shifting aspect ratio,
Right.
good or bad in your opinion?
I mean, I noticed it a lot in the first episode, but then I didn't. It wasn't really evident in the rest of the series.
I actually liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good little thing that they like were like, okay, this is where we're going to hang our hat on as one of the changes, because I felt like one of my small criticisms of the Netflix stuff is they really downplayed the powers he had.
Mhm.
Where it was just like, he's a really skillful blind man, but they never like went into what is that sound? What is his hearing really feel like?
Right.
What does he do that's special?
Yeah.
So I kind of liked it.
Also, he can touch a painting and know exactly who the drawing is of. I thought that was.
Oh God, that one.
That was interesting. I don't know.
The way that
Hey, man,
they
I've seen-
juxtapose that with he touched her face in the beginning of
You
the
can read a
episode,
newspaper with
and
his
now
hand.
he's touching a painting
Yeah, but this
in
is
the
a
shape of
drawing.
her face.
Clearly.
Which episode was that?
That was in the
That was
second Muse episode.
Second Muse episode
Oh,
when
that's
he realized
horrible.
that Heather was his target.
And he's the drawings from the
Yeah.
drawings. I was like, all right, okay.
Well,
that's
there is
fine.
part. I mean, they write him. However, like there's parts
Yeah,
in the comics where they write him where he can read. Books as if they're braille when there's not braille. He just can feel
Yeah,
the
he
ink.
can read the ink on a page
Right.
and read the letters, which
Sure.
okay, I'll buy that. But it's literally the idea of like I'm touching paint on a canvas and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's the shape of my girlfriend's face.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
All right, more. What do we like? Let's talk about more things about episode 9.
Sure.
I thought Frank had
Oh,
some.
can I
yeah.
touch on the gore aspect?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Number one, I absolutely love that this is the most fucking brutal we have ever had the Punisher be.
Yeah.
The spot where he takes the one cop, he pins his head to a counter, and he shoots him through the head and through the counter
Oh my
5
god,
times.
that's great.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it. As well as like when he sneaks up on the one dude at Red Hook and he just stabs him in the neck and then he pulls the knife out the front of his neck and it's just a geyser of blood. This is 80s slasher villain Frank Castle, and it's exactly what I signed up for.
I love it. I wish they would use more like squib work instead of the CG blood.
Well, I agree, but I'll take what I can get because it's not just him punching a guy while going.
Yeah, I mean,
he sounds like he's ejaculating.
Yeah,
Like,
Well,
he's
he might. Let's be honest. He might be.
it's a release for him, right? He is getting off on. He's ripping out throats.
I don't like that.
No, I don't think he's actually coming because he's killing people.
I mean,
it's more supposed to be the animalistic aspect of It's like a barbarian in an RPG.
Yeah,
The angrier he gets, the more damage he can withstand. That kind of shit.
And then, as far as the Kingpin commissioner head squishing scene,
so my roommate and I were watching the episode. The moment when because here's the thing, he doesn't crush his head.
No,
he tears it apart.
Yeah,
both of us, like, it was the moment from Friday where both of us were just, damn! Like, holy shit, I never would have expected Disney to allow us to see that.
Right? How many pounds of pressure does that take? The practical effect, I thought, looked great. You see his
what's funny, though? Like,
off.
When you load the Disney app, Honora pops up. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. We got hookers.
Wait till someone presses that by accident.
Yes. No, all bets are off on Disney Hulu now, apparently.
That, as well as the mid-credit scene with him talking to Anthony Petrucci.
It's a good name.
Good old Jersey boy, Anthony Petrucci.
Anthony.
I love the fact that was the moment that sealed for me the idea that Frank's entire plan here was, I want to see how many of you are there?
Yeah.
What are your tactics like? And finally, how fucking stupid are you?
Who falls for the shake your hand fucking trick?
This is the only motherfucker in these cages who is shackled at the wrists in the cage. And you're going to walk over and shake the man's hand?
Who falls for that shit? Anthony, Fisk has swordsmen and people in cages in the basement. What do we think about this?
I'm more like, why wouldn't he just kill them?
Yeah, I don't know what he's holding them for. It's like the end of Heretic.
Because he kills the police commissioner, so it's clear he doesn't mind doing that. I guess the only thing I can think of is he'd be like, I'd have to cover up a lot of shit if I killed everybody.
Yeah, but all of them are going to be like, by the way, he held us in the fucking cage for many weeks.
But he killed the guy in front of people, didn't he?
Right. Well, in front of
he killed the commissioner in front of the cops.
Yeah. But listen, Frank murdered like easily 50 of these task force. I was trying to count and I lost count. How many fucking people are on this task force? Because it seemed like Frank killed all of them.
The only thing I can imagine is the people he's holding in cages are people he can use.
Right. Some kind of leverage, like swordsman.
They got money.
Yeah.
Like the swordsman has money, and he was a dude who also mouthed off about how, well, we don't see you as the mayor. You're still a gangster.
The rich lady that he tried to get donations from.
Oh yes,
she's
you're right.
in there too. Oh, right.
As well as the people from the council that Gandolfini was threatening.
Yes, everyone who's not on board. He's like, we're gonna
and all the children that sang that song.
I gotta say that bit was hilarious.
So great.
We built this city.
They have another song. That's okay.
Yeah, she goes.
I have to leave.
She goes for our second one. He's like, no, that's fine.
No, that's the great thing about Fisk is he's always pissed that he has to do anything.
And then he's like,
why am I doing this?
The Latvian kids are singing the same fucking song. It's great. That was probably the funniest moment of the whole show.
That was good. I love the fact that that's just what the mayor does. You go around and you have kids sing songs at you because you're the mayor. And he's like, this is such a waste of my time.
But I thought, speaking of funny, I thought Frank had some killer lines. He's like, what do they call you now? Nightgown man?
My favorite was when he goes to kill oh god, what's his name? The Chicago dude who was wearing the Punisher skull.
Oh yeah.
He's like, no, Frank, it's not what I want. He's not worth it. And then he goes, is that guy worth it? And he shoots another cop.
This one. Sergeant Cole. So they find out who killed Hector. Also, is the only other thing you find out. And I love what he's like, what you you're not gonna do with your ass hanging out?
Well, yeah, one question real quick. I'm pretty sure. So the commissioner that got killed, he went to the right hand lady to get her to help, and she was the one that outed him, right?
She recorded that conversation. That was her. Yeah, that's why
he was listening to it on her phone.
Got it. Yeah.
She felt really bad, even though she's like, "I got you," and she recorded the conversation. So, yeah, people are they're gonna have to take sides now at the end, as it ends with Fisk has won. And Matt needs an army, and there's nothing in this world a good cup of coffee can't fix. Also, true.
I have a question about the whole thing with Fisk and Red Hook.
Yes, let's talk about the Red Hook port. This is a part of land. It's under no jurisdiction from the country, the county, the city.
So the whole concept
Like a
starts
Native
off
American
with
reservation.
Is it?
yeah, essentially.
Oh,
No, well,
okay.
that's how Native American reservations operate.
Okay.
So free ports were legitimately a part of American trade back in like
Free ports, right.
1700s and shit.
Okay.
And so I don't think Red Hook has a free port. I think that's just part of the story. But the question that I have is, so the concept is that somewhere along the lines, Fisk and Vanessa learned that Red Hook had this free port that's been abandoned, that they've been using to do all of their shady deals and house all their illegal goods and the artwork that she's been moving and whatever else. Great. Fantastic. Foggy has a client that he is defending, that he is trying to essentially call an end to the trial by saying that whatever this man is being accused of occurred at this Red Hook Freeport, and because that is not under American jurisdiction, that he cannot be held to American law. And that had nothing to do with Vanessa and Fisk, but it calls to attention the fact that where they've been working is a free port, and people would probably start investigating it. So she decided to have Foggy and I think Foggy's
Benny
client killed.
Yeah.
But throughout the entire season, Fisk has been pushing to do some sort of big renovation to the Red Hook port.
Right. He's got a project going.
That he is making a massive like public spectacle of, I'm pushing to take care of this port.
Yeah.
So if the whole point was don't let anyone look at it so they don't know it's a free port,
Why is he calling attention?
why the fuck are you calling attention to it for months as the mayor?
Yeah, that plan's a little weird. It's a little convoluted. They want to build like a city state, but that's a good point because that was his whole campaign. It was like, I'm gonna put something good here and bring. I don't know. Anybody have any?
Let's
idea?
hire writers that don't read comics or don't understand logic. How about that? That's a good idea.
I can only assume it's a victim of the rewrites, but it's like the aspect that you're going with is that, we want no one to look at it so we can keep doing crime, but your other side is I want everyone to look at it so I can legally
I think that maybe the only way I could do mental gymnastics to defend this is that maybe the fact that Fisk is the mayor, he can insulate that, and so he can kind of take care of it from the inside, whereas before he wasn't the mayor, and that's why they had to do something about Foggy.
Yeah, I think I agree with Ruggs. I think it's also something where like he can build all this legal stuff on there that like looks good, but then it's all a front for like the real stuff underneath. But because he wasn't the mayor prior, they were just doing stuff over there that was all like below board. But now he can do something above board, but then also draw the attention of anyone big to come over there and do stuff below board.
Because he needs investors, right? In that whole party, the whole point was he's trying to raise money.
I guess it then builds into the idea that if he can essentially trick investors to being a part of it when shit goes south, they will also be tied to it. So the rich people of New York will fight to keep it hidden. All right, I buy that.
So it's like it's like a Las Vegas, Miami on a smaller scale, where it's just like bad happening here, but because it's such a big city, now you get the big whales coming through.
It makes so much money for everybody that we can't possibly go after it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
problem.
We wrote it for them if they haven't already thought of that.
And now, if they don't do that, I'm going to call them hacks.
But it's a reach in any aspect.
It's a little shoehorn, right? Yeah, it's
a
little. But now Vanessa can run the business, the crime side, while he does the other thing. But he's Mayor Kingpin, out in the open. Mayor Kingpin, not fucking around.
I will say his final message when he did the live stream to New York at the end, that was very well done, with him fucking looming over the desk and everything.
Standing. So he tells everyone the city that Gallo quit, and he declares martial law. And then you get another great. I love his awkward. I love New York. And then just awkward stare into the camera. He's done that a couple of times. The times when D'Onofrio's lips twitch when it's I don't know how is he able to do that himself? His fucking face twitches when Kingpin is about to snap, and it's
I think
amazing.
that's him.
That's amazing.
I think that's D'Onofrio.
I don't know how he has control over your lip muscles like that, or your cheek. And then when Karen comes back, first of all, I think it's hilarious. She shows up out of nowhere because she has to show up at some point. She's just there. But she brings so much like weight to everything. And you realize how shitty Heather Glenn is when the three of them together, the chemistry they have.
Yeah.
There's something. The show changes when Deborah Ann shows up.
Yeah, that's not even it's like the weight and the immediate chemistry of you go,
Yeah.
oh, I want Matt to be with her. Like
Yes.
you immediately go, that other girl, what, who, Heather, who? What?
Yeah.
Who was that? I don't even know who that is anymore.
You have number one, you have someone that knows that Matt is Daredevil, that's been through the shit with them. So it brings a lot of baggage to the table, a lot of stuff like the past. So there's a lot of weight to her presence. And the fact that, yeah, she's on his side, you know, that she's going to kind of be this emotional thing for Matt to lean on. So it's good. We all need that in the show. We need someone that we could kind of believe in and that's going to we know that is going to I guess have our backs, you know.
She pulls you into the show instantly, right? And nobody else has been able to do that.
There is something just about Deborah Ann Woll as an actress that she has this uncanny ability to bring both this vulnerability as well as strength to a scene that she's in, with whether it's she's talking to Matt or Frank. And it's this aspect of just being so complex in simplicity, of being able to offer up in just a few lines, you can recognize that this is a person that you could trust, that you know can handle herself, but damned if you don't want to then also protect her from the world.
Yeah, it's all there in her eyes, those piercing blue eyes. Just so you're like,
I mean, one of the best scenes, if we're thinking about just Karen Page and Daredevil, was in that first season when she's face to face with I keep forgetting the guy's name with the glasses.
Wesley. Whoa,
and then she kills him.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole thing
was great.
It was awesome.
That was great.
I mean, she's a great actress, and she's missed a lot. I mean, the whole supporting cast from these seasons.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where it makes me so pissed that they used Foggy as a catalyst for the opening of the season, because I think I'm going to blank on his actual name. I had it for a moment.
Henson.
Thank you. He is also one where he is so underrated as just this subtle, dramatic actor.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where for me as a kid who grew up in the 90s, it's like the fucking bully from Mighty Ducks. It's like, yeah, dude, he's actually absolutely wonderful as an actor.
Oh my God, that's him. Yeah.
And the scenes that he had throughout the Netflix series, especially when he finally found out that Matt was Daredevil, and the utter betrayal he felt in having never been told this, or moments where he's like, so all the times when we were in college and stuff, and I would say something, you would know I was lying.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah. And he's like, and you just fucking went along with it anyway? Be like, yeah. And it's just this wonderful thing where you could feel such a great chemistry among the three of them.
Yeah.
And I cannot fathom anybody seeing that and being like, we don't fucking need that.
I mean, it was ballsy of them to kill him. I don't think he's dead. I think they're going to pull some shenanigans.
I know that they've done stories in the comics with that, but
Delhauer, you don't think the chemistry between Matt and the fellow lawyer and his right hand guy with the glasses is the same as Karen Page and Foggy? How dare you say something like that?
You mean do I know if Matt, Cherry, and Lady Lawyer
Kristen?
That's why I don't even know their names.
I only know Cherry because I at one point I called him Jerry, and my roommate corrected me because apparently he is a character in the comics.
Yeah.
And I went, his fucking name is Cherry.
His name is Cherry, and I liked what he got to do. He didn't get to do much, but
yes, in the 2.5 scenes they've all had together, I don't know if they've really captured any chemistry.
So yes, Fisk makes Heather commissioner of mental health in the end, and then he has a press conference. Martial law. There's prisoners in the cage. Matt needs an army, and he has a little monologue. We are the city without fear. Yada yada. It's all right. And then the post-credit scene with Frank is how we end, leading into his special presentation, which I believe Bernthal's co-writing with someone that should maybe come out later this year.
It's supposed to be in the fall, yeah.
Ruggs, let's wrap this up with you. Give me your final thoughts. Give me a rating and a ranking. You probably already answered this. Is this better?
Dead last.
Is it better than the Netflix shows? And where do you put it amongst the Disney Plus shows?
It's dead last in the Daredevil shows for there.
Okay.
That's
Overall.
for sure. Yeah. Marvel shows, I don't know. It's not the worst. It's towards the top, I would say, because Marvel shows are bad.
Right.
So I would say it's in the top, like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's rated. I'm going to rate it as a 6. If I'm going to give this show a rating.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was disappointed for all the reasons we stated. Felt like they did a lot of, they started off in the wrong direction. They started off with a lot of hubris and a lot of weird thoughts on how this should be. And they quickly tried to like go backwards and kind of go towards the Netflix show, which is the right thing to do. See, like the thing about the Netflix show is it was kind of good. And it was in this kind of vacuum where like there was no Marvel Studios presence in TV yet. And it kind of did its own thing.
Right.
Now you're trying to bring this into like an existing, universe.
Sure.
And, it doesn't really work. So you just got to embrace it for what it is. And the more that they do that, the better the show will be.
Okay, Anthony. Same question. Number, rating, ranking.
It's funny to rate this because when you compare it to the Netflix stuff,
Yeah.
it's clearly last. Other than, I think it's better than Defenders. So if you give the first season of Defenders and consider that a Daredevil show because he's in it a lot,
Sure.
I think it's better than Defenders.
Sure.
But when you compare it to all the Netflix stuff, when at that scale, it's like a 5. When you compare it to all the Marvel shows, it's like clearly a 7.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a show that is disappointing, but also ends with a lot of potential and tries things and seemingly has some really like stellar moments.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, as far as like where it ranks with the Marvel shows, I mean, I still think WandaVision is better. I think Loki is clearly the best in my opinion. There's 2 seasons of Loki. I think this is weird that I'm saying, but Agatha I think might be better. And it's probably in that next range, right? Like your Moon Knights.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Moon Knight. I think it's better than Miss Marvel. Somewhere there, right?
Yeah.
That's where I would put it. The overall ranking, I would probably lean towards, like, if I was going 6, it'd be like a not enthusiastic 6 or a 5.5 where I go 5.5, but they might be on the right track to get this turned around.
Huh. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Is like, it depends on what kind of scale you want to compare it to. Because it's clearly not the Netflix, but it's also not as bad as like the other Marvel shit.
Yeah, interesting. Delhauer?
Yeah, I compared to Netflix, I agree. It's definitely better than Defenders. Compared to the 3 seasons of Daredevil, it's definitely not better than really any of them.
Yeah.
Though I think it probably is. I may have enjoyed it more than the hand stuff in season 2, just because that shit dragged for so long. But it's very much proof of they have an idea of how to do better, but they're still fumbling. I'd say amongst Disney Plus shows, I'd probably put it 4th because I agree WandaVision and Loki are tops.
Yeah.
I absolutely fucking loved Agatha, so I will put that above it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd say the closest that would come behind it would be like Moon Knight or Miss Marvel. You have shit like Secret Wars to compare it to.
Right.
You
Secret
know that
Invasion.
you haven't fucked up that hard yet.
Or like a She-Hulk or an Echo.
And I'd say a number 6.5. I'll go the most generous out of everybody so far.
Oh, wait, you haven't heard mine.
I said so far.
It's my middle name, Mr. Generous. No, you guys, I'm feeling all your guys' comments because I'm really torn because, well, on the one hand, they had the balls to give you this violence and this adult nature and language and this darkness and killing Foggy. but you can't not not mention the disjointed nature because of the creative overhaul. So unfortunately, that whole situation is going to knock it down a bunch. But now that I see where the show's going, what the show actually is with these last 2 episodes, like, I'm excited. I do agree it is not as good as the Netflix fare, but as far as the Disney shows, yeah, it's in the top 5, and I'll agree with all you. Like, I like the WandaVisions, the Lokis. It's in the top. It's like number 4 or 5 somewhere there because of the fact that they went dark and violent
and because Marvel sucks.
And those other shows have just like they haven't figured out how to make episodic TV yet. They're getting there still after all these years and like 15 shows.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out one day. But I would give the show on a Disney scale like a 7.5.
Okay.
You know,
in all honesty, I would say if Moon Knight hadn't been so afraid of actually filming action scenes,
I like Moon Knight.
It would have been over Daredevil.
And these are the same guys who did. They did episodes of Moon Knight. I just love that whole tone and the feeling of that show. How weird it was, and the different personalities, and how they showed the thing and the boat.
Yeah,
and
it was one of those ones where like I liked what they did, but my ultimate feeling was you guys were too scared to go all in, and I don't respect that.
Yeah, I guess it got a little safe by the end, but
what a horrible ending.
Yeah. The kaiju fight. I mean,
kaiju fight, and then you have him versus the villain, and he blacks out, and then you just see the villain.
Was it Ethan Hawke or Kevin Bacon? Who was the
Ethan Hawke?
Oh, it was Ethan Hawke. Kevin Bacon is in the Guardians, but Ethan Hawke, and then Jake Lockley comes out. But yeah, a lot of the big fight scenes we didn't see because he would just black out and wake up, and I was like, what?
Because literally the showrunner went, I don't like action scenes. It's like, who the fuck are you and why are you here?
I mean, the action in this season of Daredevil was decent. The CGI could use a little work. Some of the editing is really choppy at times.
Some of the CGI is very obviously rushed because it was last minute with the reshoots.
Sure.
But I agree that there were like in the first episode, I remember when he was like jumping roofs and swinging around. I went, "Ooh, that's rough," and I don't like it.
Yeah, but I'm excited for next season as we will have probably a more cohesive show.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, but it's just nice to see these guys back, right? It's like friends. It's a little comforting, and maybe now they figured it out.
Nice to see. I just wish you would have done it the whole season instead of giving
there
it
was this,
2 or 3 episodes.
You know, if they really had balls, they would have just trashed all those episodes and paid for it to redo it. But maybe you could take.
I think the train was too far on the tracks to do that without taking a huge loss.
It is one of those moments where, like, what I can think of about like the bank heist episode, I enjoy it as like a standalone short film concept.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. But when you then have to put it in the middle of this entire season, you're like, I don't know why we were here.
Yeah. All right. We will get season 2, and hopefully they promise we're going to get yearly seasons. So we should get season 2 around this time next year, and a couple more seasons. All right, let's take a break here, fellas. We're going to play some promos. We'll come back, talk about the latest joint from Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Sinners, right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men?
Turn your dial to find the frequency of the past.
Captain Midnight.
Where the classic stories of mysteries, sci-fi, thrillers, and suspense are found waiting to be heard once again.
Another case for Nick Carter, Master Detective.
You'll find a variety of those stories here, in their original form, where each episode takes you to another place or time.
The Man of Bronze, Doc Savage.
But only when you find the mystery frequency. Available everywhere.
The Shadow knows.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the show, this is a fantastic time to join our awesome fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
Sign up, pick a tier. You can give back on a monthly or annual basis, and you get access to stuff like an exclusive podcast feed where the shows come out early instant reactions to movies are posted there, bonus content, bonus movie reviews, hours more bullshit to enjoy when you sign up to our Patreon. You can also join us for our monthly Discord hangouts. We just had one last week. Lots of fun. There is a tier where you can pick a movie for us to review. There's a tier where you get an exclusive t-shirt. Lots of fun stuff. Support the show. jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Okay, fellas, let's get to this week's review. We are going to be reviewing Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler's latest epic, Sinners. Here is your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This is Coogler's 5th movie, and I believe the 5th time he's also worked with Michael B. Jordan. They're 5 for 5.
Yep.
Right? Because isn't in Wakanda Forever, he's got a brief cameo? Yeah.
He shows up in the, what do they call it? Like the ancestral dream zone or whatever?
Ancestral plane.
The ancestral plane. So, Coogler, Jordan doing it to the tune of Rotten Tomatoes score 98% on the tomato meter, critic score, audience rating 97%. And here's an interesting note. It got an A cinema score. And apparently this is the first time in like 35 years a horror movie has gotten an A cinema score. So there's a lot of momentous things that's breaking here as we get into some more numbers. The budget of this movie around $90 million, and it opens domestically $45.6 million. Not bad. Currently is sitting at like $61 million worldwide. It opens number 1 over Minecraft, but Warner Brothers finally is having some good luck as they have the number 1 and 2 movie with Sinners and Minecraft. Minecraft, $720 million worldwide in 3 weeks, which is insane. But Warner Brothers really needs this double hit. I don't know if you followed the story. Zaslav was like going to fire Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi, heads of Warner Brothers. Their jobs are on the line, and they put out some clunkers like Mickey 17 and this other movie. But now they've got 2 hits at number 1 and number 2. Some more interesting business notes. Coogler apparently had a crazy deal for this movie. And Warner Brothers, so desperate that through this bidding war, they were the only studio to accept these terms, which is how it lands at Warner Brothers. What were the terms? Ryan Coogler gets final cut on the movie, which is great. No notes from the studio. He gets first dollar gross, meaning he gets money from the first day of release. Doesn't have to wait for the studio to make its money back. And that perk is usually reserved for like your big directors. And then this one is the craziest and unheard of concession. Ryan Coogler will get the rights back to this movie in 25 years.
Oh, shit.
Nobody does that. Yep. Nobody ever gets that. This is the guy, though. Again, movie Sinners, produced, written, and directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan in dual roles as the Smokestack twins, Smoke and Stack. You have newcomer Miles Catton as Sammy Moore. You have Jack O'Connell playing an Irish vampire Remick. You have Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim. Who else do we got? We got
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld, yeah.
Right. That's the other big one. Haley Steinfeld as Mary. And the rest of the cast is quite great. But I want to also mention his whole creative team Ryan Coogler has that he uses in every movie, which is Ludwig Göransson doing the music, Ruthie Carter doing the costumes. And then a technical note, cinematographer Autumn Durald Arkapaw, who had shot Wakanda Forever with Coogler. They shot this on 65 millimeter film using a combination of this IMAX 15 perf, 70 millimeter giant film, and Ultra Panavision 70 millimeter cameras. So the scenes alternate from 2 different aspect ratios. And this is crazy because those IMAX cameras are huge. This is only the 20th movie to use the IMAX cameras and only the 13th movie shot in this Ultra Panavision. And we could talk about the effect of that if you saw it in IMAX like I did. It's amazing. But this is a rated R movie, 2 hour, 17-minute runtime. Anthony, what happens in Sinners?
Oh man, Sinners is a movie set in the 1930s in the Mississippi Delta, where two African Americans that have been traveling the U.S., mostly in Chicago, come back home with money, probably drug money or blood money.
Yeah.
And they come back to their hometown to build a juke barn or basically a club for the 1930s for their people. And in the midst of building this club for their own people, they draw some attention from some supernatural beings that look to fuck shit up for them.
Juke joint. I love that term. Let's go to the juke joint. All right, Anthony, let's just start with you. We heard about this movie. We love these two creators. Movie ended. How did you feel?
I felt pretty good. I had to take a piss because it was a long movie, but
it is a long movie.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to my instant reaction. That my thoughts are pretty much the same. I ended this movie and I went, that was pretty good. That was fun. Like, I enjoyed being in a movie theater. It was a packed theater on a Saturday afternoon for something that seemingly every person that watches movies has been dying for, which is some sort of auteur director getting a big budget to do something that isn't based on another story or other IP or a franchise. And it was good, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. Like I said in my Patreon review, check out Patreon if you don't have it. Subscribe, take part, because it's awesome. You get free content. I said when I recorded it, that Ryan Coogler has made it. And what do I mean by that? I mean, he is at the level now, I think, especially if this movie does well in the box office, which I think it'll have some legs. He is at that level where he is a big name director that can do what he wants. He can make his own movies. He can make demands like he's made about, first dollar in and getting the rights back. He can work with anyone he wants, even though he chooses to seemingly work with Michael B. Jordan all the time, which is, and he can do, and people will go and watch it, and it'll be something where fans will enjoy it, critics will like it. Like, he's on the level, in my opinion, not in terms of like his whole career, but on the level currently of like your PTA, your Nolans, your Quentin Tarantino's, where they can just make whatever they want at this point.
Yeah. He's at blank check level director.
Exactly. Like blank check level, and because all the other stuff he's done has been franchise stuff.
Yeah.
Springfield Station, but that was also like an indie movie based on another story. This was the first time he was getting free reign to do something wholly. Yeah. He has inspirations, but it's his own original thing. And I thought he hit well on it. I enjoyed it. It's one of those movies where the more I marinate on it, the more I like it.
Yes.
And I was really looking forward to talking about it. So yeah, overall, I'm very high on the movie.
All right, Delhauer, opening thoughts. How'd you feel once the movie ended?
As I walked out of the movie, one of the first things that happened was I got out into the lobby, and I heard a guy behind me who was also leaving the theater say to somebody, Haley Steinfeld as a vampire? Fuck, she could turn me. And I laughed my ass off all the way out the door. And then when I got outside and I was heading to my car, the first thing I just said out loud was, wow, what a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, I just had such a great time seeing this film. I had a great time in the theater with it. It's one of those things where it's such a wonderful mix of, it's not only is it fun, but it's so well made. It's so well written. It is so well acted that, like, it's just every aspect of this movie came together to be top notch, in my opinion. Yeah. And this may be the second movie I've seen in theaters this year, because I just don't have a lot of things that are driving me to want to go to the theater. But I saw that shit in IMAX, and that it was phenomenal. Yeah. Like, that is, I recommend anyone who has the ability to see it that way, do so.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have the ability to see it that way, go fucking see it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, when it opens up to the full aspect ratio in those certain scenes, it is just immersive and stunning. Ruggs, opening thoughts. How was your theater experience?
It was Thursday night, and it was about half full.
Okay.
There was a small applause break at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Not everybody clapped, but a few people did. I really, 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 really liked this movie. I thought it was very well done, very well directed. I felt like the acting was incredible. Felt like a lot of the period stuff, the undertones, the layering was all there. I had a couple of things that kind of like knocked me a little bit out of this picture a little bit. There's the one scene.
We'll get to that one scene. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
One scene.
But I feel like there is an incongruence to the theme of this because it's about at its core, it's about not it's about music being like vampires, right?
Yeah,
and people like sucking the soul out of
culture.
Their culture.
Yes, it's about culture.
But then this movie is also a homage to Quentin Tarantino's Dusk Till Dawn.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
And I'm like, oh, if you're going to talk about originality, you have to have a completely original concept. You can't use a concept that's already been done and fresh in people's memories.
I mean, it's similar in the sense that it starts out as one thing and becomes another thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but it's about it's about vampires.
The second thing
too.
is the same. The first thing is a little different.
As we get further, I will be willing to contest that with Rug Boy.
Oh boy,
that's fine, but it's still a valid. It's still not. I'm not lying.
Oh, no, you're not.
So it's fine. You can contest it. But if you're going to make a statement about originality and things and blah, 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 don't do it while you're making an homage or or getting inspiration from something else. It just kind of muddies it up. It doesn't ruin it. Yeah. I still loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I just noticed it.
Well,
that's all.
I mean, he said in interviews he was inspired by that movie as well as some other things. The song Wang Dang Doodle. And his, I think his relationship with his grandfather and blues music. I also had a great experience. I saw it on Friday in the IMAX. It was a full theater. Everybody was locked in. That fucking movie had 2 applause breaks during the movie and then applause at the end, which I was like, wow, these people were really into it. But this is a sexy, funny, scary, stylish, confident, ambitious, emotional. It's gory. It's a blend of genres. It works without the vampires. It works as like an amazing period piece about these 2 brothers that I would have watched anyways. But this is why like movies were made. This is why film was made. The fact that he geeks out about film. Everything is firing on all cylinders. The acting, cinematography, the costumes, the directing, the music, the production design, the story. It's amazing. And like you said, Anthony, I felt the same thing. This is talent working at peak or near peak levels. And he, shows you with his fifth film why he's like one of the best auteur American directors out there. It's just so rich and lush with character and texture. It's a great American vampire story and just a good a kind of original story. I want to say the word masterpiece. I don't know if that's too much, but it feels like a Coogler masterpiece. And I just love how he takes his time with the first half of the movie. So we can start talking about that. How
So for you, Imran, 2 things I want to do real quick before we start getting into the meat of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, just one. One real quick one is I agree with you. I would put the word masterpiece to this. But beyond that is a thing I want to put out there for anyone listening. We haven't really spoiled anything yet. And if you want to see this movie, if you haven't seen it and you're listening this far, I'm surprised because we've already done the spoiler alert. Yeah. Here's the thing I will say, because this happened to a bunch of people in my theater. There is what is essentially a mid-credit scene in this film that is the legitimate ending of the story. Stay to see that.
It should have been in the movie.
We had a bunch of people in my theater who got up and left once the credits started, and they missed that whole entire scene.
I mean, it should have been in the movie, and they kind of try to keep you there.
Should have been an epilogue. That was like after.
You see little musical things while the credits are rolling to kind of.
I get an idea as to why they did it, and I'll touch on it later when we get that far.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where people saw like directed by Ryan Coogler came up, and they immediately got up and walked out.
No, it's like a 6-minute scene. It's not just
it's not a little tag.
No, it's a big part of the movie, so you definitely want to stay. But no, that's a good note. And really, it's not really that spoilery because even if you know it's vampires, you forget this movie's about vampires for a long time.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you were talking about that first 30 to 40 minutes, I loved that first 30 to 40 minutes, and we all knew that there were vampires happening, but I think, at least for me, Coogler had so much confidence in what he was doing that I could have just watched them. I could have just hung out watching them prepare for a party. Like, that's literally what that is, but it's so rich in terms of style and character moments, and you see like Michael B. Jordan playing twins and getting a feel for each of those guys. And I think like that's where, while I agree with Ruggs on like in that its story's not wholly original, I think he does a good job of taking things he's inspired by and not necessarily copying them, but transforming them with his own voice. And I think he does a really good job of putting in like that first 30 to 40 minutes, you get an understanding of where you're at, that this is lived in. You get an understanding of like, oh man, this is like kind of a music movie. And it's also like a hangout movie with these guys. And then you also have like, I don't fully understand at times what they're saying because they're speaking in the way that they would speak back then. But I like it because it's like, it feels lived in, it feels real. So like all that stuff, I really enjoyed that first 30, 40 minutes where you're not even really getting to the action or anything like happening, but lots of shit's happening.
It is. And that's the important part is you need to be engaged and invested in these characters. And he absolutely does that. So when the shit hits the fan, you're like, no, fuck.
Oh, yeah. To the point that getting to understand and know the Smokestack twins.
Yes.
I want to know everything about before this movie. Like, I'd love to see the adventures of the Smokestack twins in World War I.
Right.
The adventure of the Smokestack twins working in Capone's Chicago.
Yes.
Like, I'm so engrossed with these fucking characters that I want to see more about where they were before this.
That would be a great prequel. And I kind of feel like these guys robbed Capone, and that's where they got the money.
Well,
I don't know.
They offer it up in the idea that they robbed both Capone and Bugsy.
The Irish and the Italians both.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his full name was, but Bugsy,
Malone?
whatever it was I think it's Bugsy Malone.
Yeah.
So they robbed both the Irish and Italians in Chicago to get both the money and the booze they bring down to Mississippi to try and run the juke joint.
And they robbed both so that it would look like each did it to each other.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. And then we do learn a little bit about their dad was abusive and one of them had to just kill them. But dude, this dual performance, first of all, technically fucking seamless. When they're passing a cigarette back and forth, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Look at that. That looks amazing.
That was greatly done.
It was so well done.
And they're color coded, right? One's in blue, one's in red, and they're twins, but you see two distinct characters, right?
Yeah, you do.
So, like, you got Smoke, who's he's more of the leader. He's more practical. He's more emotionally open. You know, his story with Annie, his estranged ex-wife or girlfriend, and the child they lost, and she's into witchcraft, and he doesn't really believe it, but he's kind of into it. That was fantastic. And then you have Stack, who's kind of the scoundrel of the two. He's more of a hothead. He's charming, but he's also reckless. And he runs into Mary, Haley Steinfeld, who he left. And I love like, so the beginning, that whole sequence where he's going to see the Chinese couple, and it's just like a oneer going back and forth between the buildings across the street. It feels lived in. But I love when Stack just shoots his friend in the ass. And then,
no, that was Smoke.
Oh, that was Smoke. And then he shoots the other one in the knee just cause.
Yeah, I can't let you have people saying you almost ripped off the Smokestack twins.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
That's great.
The thing that I love about it with the two of them is that, especially for me, you know, I'm the youngest of three kids. I have an older brother who, number one, he's 8 years older than me, but people think we're twins because we look very similar.
Okay.
But it's also, as the older brother, he is far more self-serious and he is far more like calm in demeanor. Whereas I'm the little brother, you know, I'm out there, I'm charismatic, and I love people looking at me.
Yeah.
So I immediately have the ability to connect with these twins in this story because it is the idea of I can immediately see me and my brother Eric in this of, oh yeah, that's absolutely how he would behave. That's how I would behave. That's how we would interact with each other. Yeah. And so like, it was wonderful to be able to kind of dive into that immediately of like, I'm so tied to this that I can buy everything that's going on between the two of them.
Yeah, he did. You absolutely tell the difference between the two, which is great because I was wondering how he's going to do that. What else about the Smokestack Twins, you guys? Anything, Ruggs, Anthony, you like about the way it was performed?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everything as far as like what Delhauer said, and I was very, very. I didn't even know walking into the movie that it was about twins. I just thought it was Michael B. Jordan playing one role. I didn't realize it was him doing two roles. Actually, three when he becomes a vampire too.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier on when I first saw the poster, just to cut off real quick, sorry, I remember seeing that he was on the poster twice. I'm like, wow, he's really selling Michael B. Jordan in this movie.
You got to make sure you see him. I just think he's got a lot of charisma. I mean, there's a reason why he's Michael B. Jordan. Ever since I saw that movie Chronicle, he's been standing out. So he's always been charismatic, and he knows how to play to the camera, and he can completely hold the attention in a movie easily.
Well, what's cool, I think, about him is, and I heard this somewhere, and I completely agree, is, and I think that's why Coogler likes working with him, is Michael B. Jordan can play two things really well. I mean, he probably can do a lot of things, but he can play like the quiet, confident guy, which he's done in a lot of roles, but then also he can play the guy that's a little bit of a hothead, which he plays in like Creed and Killmonger.
Yeah.
So like he can do both really well, and then they're just like, hey, you do these two things really well. Do them both in this movie.
Do them both.
It's what's very interesting is to go back and look at it as like, okay, Smoke is Michael B. Jordan from Fruitvale Station.
Oh yeah,
he is that very wise, somewhat quiet, understandable. Like he has the ability to read a room and know how he has to go through that.
Right.
Versus Stack is Killmonger.
Yeah.
Or the young Creed.
Or the young Creed.
Yeah.
He's hot-headed.
Yeah.
He's charismatic.
Yeah.
He is someone you want to look at, but he's going to wind up fucking shit up because he doesn't think before he acts.
Even the little detail of like the cigarette, if you notice, Smoke always asks his brother or gets a cigarette from someone. And then at the end, when he's getting ready, he's shaking. He can't even roll a fucking cigarette, and he has to throw it away. Because he fucked it up. Because he doesn't
has to get somebody else's cigarette.
He can't make his own cigarette.
It's get the Klan guy's cigarette.
Yeah, yes. And then he gets it from the Klan guy before he just fucking shoots him.
Let's I think this is a good point because we've talked about the beginning. I think it's a good point to get to that scene.
Yeah.
Because it's smack dab in the middle of that movie.
Yeah.
Where the movie's been like a hangout movie, but it's also been a period piece, and it's been also peppering in music. And the Smokestack Twins have a little cousin who's almost like the main character of the movie.
It really is about him.
Definitely the main character.
Creature
Sammy.
Yeah.
Who you meet and you see right away the carnage that had happened, and you see he has this whole storyline with his father wanting him to be in the church and not play music, and they're playing it up like he's this savant, right?
Yeah.
And he gets into the scene where he's at the juke barn, and they're like, okay, the main event is here.
Opening night, grand opening.
Main event, Delroy Lindo's been to entertain the crowd, and then he gets to start playing. And the scene that literally everyone that I've watched a review on is going to talk about and has an opinion on is he starts playing and they do a oneer where all of a sudden it becomes this surreal thing where he's playing so well that it's like tying into the past and the future and the history of music, and they're blending the genres, and they have people from different parts of the timeline showing up, and it seems like it's in the building is burning down, and it's just like kind of this surreal moment.
Yeah.
I'll hold my thoughts first. I'm curious. I know what Rug Boy thought of it because I listened to it, but I'd love to get people's thoughts on that because I think that's like a pivotal moment in the movie. And I think that's before I get into like hearing your thoughts, I think that's the moment where like Coogler's doing his thing and he takes a big swing.
It's the biggest swing in this movie. Like clearly this is his passion project, right? And he has so much to say. And when this was unfolding, my mouth was open, and you're kind of transfixed.
Because your teeth fell out, or because
my teeth fell out, and I had to get under the seat, and there was popcorn everywhere. And
he couldn't even watch the scene.
I couldn't even watch it. But the camera work, and then when the funk guitarist pops up, and then you see a DJ, and then tribal figures from different cultures, and then it's a literal barn burner. It was mesmerizing. I will say it was mesmerizing, and I didn't know what to think of it at the time, but I think it kind of works for me. I could see how it wouldn't work for people. It might take you out. But this being the power that attracted Remick and the vampires, the culture, the power of music, connecting, essentially saying all of popular music and culture kind of starts right here. You know, it's a similar parallel to Robert.
If you buy into that, then it works.
Well, because it's also, you know, the story of Robert Johnson, legendary blues guitar, sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads, is kind of, this is what he's talking about here. This is that kind of story, that fable that got big in blues music. Sammy's kind of like this Robert Johnson. He has this power. It's devil music, according to his father, but it's also can pull all of your histories and your ancestors together. So in the end, I think it really works. Delhauer?
I'll touch on it here. I actually have a whole thing about the music in this movie that I wrote out that I wanted to do at some point during the review that talks about not just this scene, but a lot of the scenes that involve the big musical moments and what they represent and what they mean to the theme of this. But talking for it for now, I'll say this is an aspect that I didn't touch on in that writing that I did think of when we were talking just now. In the theater before the movie started, we got the trailer for the new Jurassic Park movie.
Okay.
And one of the things I thought about it whilst watching that trailer was I cannot tell you how absolutely fed up I am with the ironic comedy of blockbuster movies in Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
In that trailer, there is a moment where Scarlett Johansson's character meets this like paleontologist or whatever he is that they're going to bring to the big dinosaur island. And she makes a comment of, well, you know, you're going to come with us and I can guarantee your safety more or less. And he then responds, more or less.
It's so dumb. The jokes in the trailer
and then
are horrible.
we get further on in the trailer and there's a point where they're on a boat and a bunch of dinosaurs surround the boat. And he says like, oh, they're helping the mosasaur. They're protecting their territory and they're hunting us. And Scarlett Johansson says, nothing that you just said is good.
Yeah, it's so bad.
And all I can think is, oh my God, I'm so fucking tired of this shit. Yeah. I fucking hate how people write movies these days. And the thing about this scene when Sammy sings the song, I Lied to You, and we connect to this mystical aspect of the story that they brought up in the opening monologue of the film. Right. And they repeat here about the ability of singers and storytellers to connect us to our culture and our history and even our future.
Yeah.
In the way that this just essentially invites the soul of people to connect together as a community. And this is one of those moments where you can have plenty of jaded and cynical people look at this and go, this is so stupid, because they bring in DJs and rock guitarists and tribals, dancemen, fucking Crips and Bloods show up. We bring in 90s, you know, Dr. Dre style beats all the way up to DJs too, right? Yeah. And all that
Twerking
shit.
happens.
And then when we realized that the Chinese couple who runs the grocery store even like this music, now we've got geishas and everybody else who are dancing around the area. This is a scene where you don't make this scene if you are afraid that people are going to roll their eyes or cringe at what you're making.
Right.
You are either in or you're fucking out, and that's it. And I loved that Ryan Coogler said, no. This is the moment that you have to either buy in or fuck off. Because this is the crux and the point of my story.
Yeah, I didn't buy into
Ruggs,
that.
I was going to ask, Ruggs, did you buy in?
And I'm going to tell you now.
I rolled my eyes like immediately. I was like, oh, I mean, like to suggest it is great. To suggest it is fantastic. I mean, music does have a quality of bringing you, like connecting you to this creative force. And yes, that spans time and space. And that's a great thing. But I feel like there was a certain level of restraint that could have been added to this that would make it work better. And I feel like if you have to hedge your bet that it's going to be, you're going to roll your eyes or you're going to lock into it, and it's like that 50-50, I think you could have made it more like 70-30 and had a little bit more control over it to kind of get there. And I felt like the overall thing was I like that they did talk about, they introduced the idea of like saying, somebody says it, like music is this thing that can be considered to be evil.
Right.
Because it makes people lower their inhibitions.
Right.
And that's where you have that aspect rolling. But it was like a lot of things mashed up together. And I felt like it was a little bit like, instead of it being like I said, 70-30, it was more like 50-50. So I was like, it could go either way. And I just went the other way with it. But I could see how people liked it. I could see people liking it. I'm not going to say it was completely without merit.
I'll throw this out there for you then, Ruggs, because this is part of the thing that I wrote up about it, is seeing this scene where we witness everybody is kind of giving into this music and they're enjoying it. And it's we're seeing that it is creating a community out of everyone allowing themselves to give in and connect together. And that's why we're getting the DJs and the rock guitarists and the geishas and the tribal dance and whatever it is. We put that as a juxtaposition to the scene later on when Remick has started creating more and more vampires, and he does the Rocky Road to Dublin moment out in the field.
Right.
Where this is now an instance of another situation in which we are seeing a community built around music. But this is not an instance in which the music is allowing everyone to connect to it based on their own cultures and ideals and understanding. They are all being forced to connect to just this one person's culture because he has a control over all of them and makes them sing along.
Right. Some of the same
makes
people
them dance along
that were in the scene prior. Some of the same people now, they're outside being
and
forced.
So it is this juxtaposition of this pure aspect of music that allows you to experience it how you want versus this corrupted aspect of music that demands you do what it tells you.
And what's that?
It is the idea of we are all one no matter whether or not you want to be.
I mean, it's also like a little cultural appropriation, right? He kind of wanted the power of his music. He wanted
he wanted Sammy because Sammy's music allowed people to feel, whereas his music just demands you to follow along.
So I'm going to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
So I think this is all a good discussion. I think I can totally see where Ruggs' viewpoint. I can see like everyone's viewpoint, because when I initially saw the scene, I was confused. I was taken aback because I was like, whoa, how does he make all this music sound so good from all these different eras? So I was like, oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But then I went, what is happening here? What are we going in this, like, he is such a savant that he calls upon like the spirits to help him? Like, is this something that's going to happen later? So it took me a while to really marinate on the scene.
Yeah.
And like, it took me like after the movie to really think about like, what did I just watch there?
Yeah.
What just happened? Because in the moment it happens, and then it's not really, there's music later on, but he can't do that again. He doesn't do that at any point. So it's like, oh, what? This is Coogler's big swing. I would lean more towards Imran and Matt in that. When I thought about it more, I really liked it, and I think it's like one of the overall things of the movie too, where there's a lot of different things that are happening where you can draw upon your own experiences or your own interpretations of things, and it's not wrong.
Right.
And I think for me, I think about the fact of like I go to a lot of music festivals. I've been to a lot of different concerts, and I think about the times where I'm slightly inebriated and listening to music that I really like.
Yeah.
And it's transformative.
It's transcendent.
Yeah, it's like it literally like when you listen or watch or view really good art.
Yeah.
You lose yourself in it.
Yeah.
I think that like connection that we have to like the ancestors and the future, like through art and music specifically in this instance, I think that's what he's touching upon. And I think in that moment and then reflecting on it, I can just think about like my own experiences with music, and I'm like, I get it. I relate to that. I don't know that like I know my ancestors that well.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty fucking sure like my ancestors and then the people ahead of me are going to like music too.
But it's just connection in general. Whether you're in the club, everybody is vibing to the same thing now.
Right, yeah.
And you've kind of become
music,
one
like anywhere.
thing. Yeah. Now, is it a little indulgent? Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
But like we said, no notes, final cut. He's going to do what he wanted to do. It was risky and he took a big swing.
So another one, I might as well just jump on some of these music things if we're there.
Because the movie is a musical as well as
100%.
a Southern drama as well as a vampire movie. It's all these things.
one of the things I looked into and I wanted to research, because I'm a white boy from up north. I don't know a lot about Mississippi Delta blues.
Get out.
But one of the things I looked into, and honestly I found very intriguing, is the scene when Remick first shows up at the juke joint with Bert and Joan.
Yes.
And they want to be let in.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, oh, we'd love to come in. We'd love to play some music, spend some money, have a great time with you. Yeah. And everyone's kind of iffy on them. They offer to play a song for them to show that they're cool.
Now, let me ask you right here. The fact that Remick, do you think this is a weird writing? I mean, this is obviously forced, right? That the vampire that's coming is a musician and controls all the other people to make music. You don't find that to be a little bit super contrived?
I think at times you kind of have to just give into the world they're building for it to follow the story than to really try and pick it that much apart.
Let me just interject real quick, because there's a key part where they say part of the whole allure, and I'll let you go in a second, Matt, is part of the whole allure of the vampires is the fact that all the problems of that world go away when you become a vampire.
Right.
And one of the things is they all share each other's memories. So they all understand where each of them are coming from. That's why they can all do that Irish jig, because immediately you become a vampire, you understand everyone.
Get to share consciousness.
The appeal of being a vampire is like it's like the devil. It's the temptation of you can enjoy a world where there is no racism, where we all understand each other, where we're all going to enjoy each other. Yeah. We're all going to be fucking lustful and we're going to fucking eat everybody. But it's going to be a good time, and you don't have to deal with the real world problems.
You just can't go out in the sunlight. That's all.
Well, but you don't have to deal with being a black man in the 1930s.
It's it's another community. There's also the parallel of Irish immigrants using their music just the way black people use blues music to process oppression and what they're going through. I thought that parallel was very good too, because Remick and vampires are another disenfranchised community. So they kind of understand, but he's there to offer them a freedom.
He's offering his own version of freedom.
I just think that it could have been written better. The character could have been written better. Like Remick could have been written better, because he just shows up on a doorstep. If he was a musician that was performing or something,
I don't earlier in the movie, a musician. I think what it was them showing up with musical instruments and singing wasn't just a thing they do. That was a thing that they knew they needed to do in order to try and tempt Sammy.
To get Sammy.
I don't know. I actually disagree. I think he was a musician.
I mean, he may have had music in the background.
But the thing is that it leaves you to figure that out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if he was kind of a little bit more in charge of that, he would have probably built that in a little bit better.
I kind of like the introduction, like the short introduction when he pops out and his skin is burning and he gets to the house.
I love that shot where he just fucking drops into frame while almost on fire.
Yeah. And then Choctaw Vampire Hunters. That's a whole movie right there. Give me that fucking movie.
Cool.
Jesus.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That's a dope ass story to tell.
Yeah. And the members were clan members.
Great world building.
Yeah. Great. I want to see so many things out of this thing. But back to Sammy real quick. Miles Kenton, just what a breakout performance. His voice, his speaking voice, that's him singing and playing. I've watched some videos of him playing that song live. Amazing. I don't know where this kid came from. Oh, I know where he came from. He was the backup singer for Her. H-E-R.
Oh, yeah.
But just what an amazing performance from this kid right out the bat.
Let me jump in and say, let me kick it back to Matt, because I interrupted him. And I know he was going on a music thing while we're still on the music.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So the thing I wanted to touch on was the scene where Remick and the two clan members show up.
Yeah.
And they're talking about we'd love to be let in. We'd love to, hang out with you guys and play some music and everything. So they play a song called Pick Poor Robin Clean.
Okay.
As the song they want to prove, hey, this is we're a band.
Right.
I tried to do some research on this song because apparently it is in fact like an old folk song out of the South.
Okay.
There's not a lot very much known about its origin. It's very much built in kind of an oral history From best I can tell, it is believed that it was a song created for minstrel shows in the early 20th century.
Okay.
That would later be adopted as a folk song in the South with like the blues community. The thing I find so interesting about that is it means that if it was actually a minstrel song, it means it was a song written by white people.
Oh, sure.
From the perspective of the black community for entertainment.
Oh.
So having these three white people show up on their door and play this song as a way of saying, hey, check it out, we're cool.
That's why.
Is them presenting a fake aspect of understanding the black story.
Yeah.
In order to be allowed into the community.
It's like them showing up and saying, hey, let's play some Limp Bizkit.
Right.
Yeah. Or being like, yo, we're cool, man. We can play some dominoes with you. And you're like,
it's very,
okay.
It's patronizing.
What?
And that, and clearly
and
that's
it's the idea of presenting this patronizing concept of understanding as a way of like, dude, we're down. We're hip. We're with it. And you're like, oh, no, you guys aren't at all.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we then see as we go on the idea of with the vampires, Remick builds on this idea that they are a hive mind.
Yeah.
He learns and gains knowledge from everybody he brings into his family, anywhere from saying, hey, Bert and Joan are like the nephew and wife of the guy who sold you the place. They're all members of the clan. They're going to come here later and kill all of you.
He does tell them that. Yeah.
Or when he takes over Bo, he learns how to speak fucking Chinese.
Dude, I love the fact that this is the main vamp and he builds this army very quickly in the course of, and the fact that everything is in one day is great, but he builds this army very quickly.
The moment where he starts speaking Chinese to Bo's wife is the moment where they solidify that Remick is the embodiment of cultural appropriation.
Yes.
That his whole entire thing of saying, look, we'll all become one community. No one will hate you. No one will attack you. You'll be powerful.
Yes.
We'll all live together in love.
Yeah.
But the only difference is that you're not free. You technically serve me. But I won't treat you poorly.
Right.
But you're not a person of your own.
Well, I think that all your point there is one of the things I really appreciate about the movie in general. Is if you want to just take the movie at face value, it's an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you also want to do that kind of like thought process or that kind of investigation into what is he trying to say, what does this mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all like it's there. If you want to dig into it and peel the onion, you can look at all the subtext. It's rife with it.
Yes.
And you can come to your own conclusions on like what he was trying to say. I think that's one of the things that's really cool about Coogler's style is like it can appeal to a lot of different people.
Yeah, he made this broadly appealing movie that, like you said, on surface level is enjoyable and it's just quality craftsmanship, but he is saying a lot and it's all right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of
layers.
A lot of things like that. I mean, there are brilliant ways that he introduced different things, different topics, and different subtexts. But yeah, it's there for you if you want to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first half is really funny. I thought Delroy Lindo stole a lot of the scenes. I love that.
Oh, he's great.
I love.
We haven't even touched on his whole entire speech about him being with a group of musicians that only were musicians because the cops blackmailed them into it.
That's right. After they passed by the,
there's so much of that shit to dig into. I also love that Remick towards the end when he finally confronts Sammy. Number one, the fact that throughout the entire movie he's becoming more and more monstrous.
Yeah.
Like he's got the extended claws and the fucking massive chompers and all that shit. But he even basically tells Sammy that like he was an Irishman in the 5th century when Christianity invaded Ireland. Yeah. So he is yet another person where he understands like oppression and the plight of being taken over and forced to bend to somebody else's will, while at the same time being an oppressor is fucking like
that is deep,
fucking masterful.
And let's not forget, we got great tips on oral sex throughout the first half of the movie.
That's very
which
true.
was some of the funniest bits there. Where what does he go? Because he found the doorknob. Listening to him.
This is also like the theater I saw this movie in. A predominantly black neighborhood.
Yeah.
horniest theater I've been in a long time. One of my favorite moments was when Stack shows up to recruit Cornbread to be their doorman.
Cornbread's great.
At
Yes.
the door, at the juke joint.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is my wife. He goes, nice to meet you. And then he's talking about like, well, I can't leave. I've got a quota to meet. He goes, well, I'm talking about paying you the kind of money that if your wife knew how much money it was, she'd let you put her dick in her mouth.
Yes, right in front of her.
And he's like, you can't talk like that. And then the wife immediately goes,
how much money?
How much money?
Yeah. How much
and
money
my favorite thing was 2 women sitting directly in front of me immediately went,
I mean, even Haley Steinfeld's accent seemed so authentic too.
But why? You didn't think it was weird that they had to squeeze in that she was like somewhat black?
I think she really, she really
so
is.
The weird thing is Haley Steinfeld is 1/8 black.
Yeah, that's actually a real thing.
Yeah.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, I think they're just playing upon her actual.
Oh wow! I felt like, whoa! I'm like, where's that coming from? That doesn't need to be there.
I mean,
but
all the little clues, like after Cornbread goes to take a piss and he's missing, he comes back and he's like, "You gonna let me in or what?" And Annie gets it. She's like, "Hold on, you've been coming in here all night. Why we gotta invite you in this time?"
Speaking of Annie, I am such a fan of the fact that one of the major female leads and I guess sex symbols, I will say, of this movie is a large framed woman who just has full on mama energy.
Yeah. That's a sexy part. Who's the actress? What's her name?
Wumi Musaku, I believe.
Wunmi Musaku was
She was in the Loki series and also
she was a hunter, right? She was like
she runs the
Hunter
She was
TV.
the head of the TVA.
I thought that was her. Okay,
Well, let's reel this in a little bit because we could literally be here for 5 hours.
I know.
True.
I know.
Let's get into like the third act, which is the vampire invasion and like how this movie ends.
So let me ask you about that decision by Grace. Once her husband gets turned and they threaten her daughter, she's just fucking loses it and goes, you know what? Fucking come in. And the whole audience, I was like, oh shit. And that whole rush and the invasion and the fight scene is amazing.
As a writer, the reasoning is shit has to happen.
Right.
I also recognize, look, I don't have kids. I can't think the way that someone who has kids would, but I could easily see someone who has decided the most important thing is protecting their child I'd rather you all come in now and we fucking kill you. So at least I'm being active.
Yeah. No, and she gets burned alive.
That is the most haunting visual of this fucking movie.
She gets burned alive, killing her husband.
Her stabbing her husband as they both burn to death.
Yeah, everybody kind of eats it. Annie.
Yeah, I felt it was a little hasty.
That's all. Yeah, you couldn't give
the other side. I will say one of the few nitpicks I do have of this movie is when they came charging in and the whole thing was going on. Was there suddenly more people in the barn than there were before?
Delhauer, I'm with you on that. I noticed that. I went, wait a minute, who are these people getting bitten?
Yeah, I was like, who the fuck is that guy with a gun?
They just need people to get bitten so the people that we need to follow don't get bitten right awway.
Yeah, true. But I was like, we suddenly have like 15 people in the barn when we had 6 before.
That was a huge nitpick for me. I'm glad someone else knew that because I was like, what did I just watch right there?
I just read it as they told everyone to leave and everybody got out, and I just assumed
there's people that stuck around.
They didn't get out.
Yeah. Some people say
that was why when they went to the Rocky Road to Dublin moment, like they had a fucking like 90 people in that field. Was everybody who left got bit?
I love how they threw that one guy out and he wasn't dead. He was just drunk and it was too late for him. That's hilarious. Yes. Anthony, talk to me about this fight scene. We get the death of Annie, who Smoke promised to kill her if she turns, and he does. Everybody mostly dies. You see Mary escape, and then you see Smoke and Stack fight, which is pretty epic.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was well done. It's good vampire action. I enjoy that the blood isn't that like fake. I don't think it was fake CGI blood that we're getting in a lot of these movies. Even horror movies are giving us fake CGI blood. I thought it was an entertaining scene or last third act. I enjoyed, all aspects of it. I didn't catch that Haley Steinfeld's character and the other, and
they split.
I didn't realize that they left.
Yeah.
So, that I didn't know that had happened. I thought they had all died. But yeah, I thought that was a great scene. I also enjoy just tagging on to that. I enjoy that we then get later on Michael B. Jordan just mowing down KKK members. Like I thought that was
I thought that they were going to show up during the nighttime.
Yeah.
That would be they were going to round up and burn it down while people were in it or something.
It's one of those moments where I was like, why would you show up in the morning?
Yeah,
like, do you think everybody slept
Nobody's
over?
there.
Yes. Did he think they were going to be there like 5 a.m? So yeah,
We're going to have a juke joint and then it's going to be a slumber party.
Yeah. No, we get the big ending and the big battle in the water, and Miles hits him in the head with the guitar, and then Smoke comes in.
A wonderful way of showing that the plate on the guitar was made of silver.
Yes, it's a resonator guitar. Right, it was silver. Everybody felt it.
Well, and there's a big significance to the guitar because it's actually a guitar that their father gave them.
He tells him it was Charlie Patton's guitar, but it wasn't. It was his father's.
Charlie Patton, that was the name. I couldn't remember who they said it was.
But Smoke stabs Remick from the back. The sun comes out because they're all idiots and they don't realize the sun's coming up when
they're really stupid.
You have lots of warning that the sun is coming up.
It's that moment where like you could clearly see the sun's coming up. Why are none of you fucking
have
reacting?
So much time to find some shelter.
Get inside.
It's called.
Well, I guess it's on fire. They had nowhere to go.
It's called Dawn. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, that would be another nitpick. Is like Kugler. It almost was like Kugler goes, I got to figure out how to get rid of all these vampires.
Yeah.
Let's just have them be stupid and hang out in the sun.
I did like.
Well, I guess it works that because it's a hive mind. If he didn't leave, they didn't leave.
Right. He's controlling them.
But then. Why do we get to that mid credits where two of them would leave?
Well, because they at least were able to hide from the sun, and then once he was dead, it didn't affect them.
Then they were
because Annie said you can't just kill one; you have to kill all of them.
Right, they're connected, but they're not connected like that. I did like how Remick is dunking Sammy in the water, like he's rebaptizing him. That was great. So Sammy leaves with the car. We get that scene where he goes back to his father from the beginning. And then Smoke prepares for the clan, and we got that fucking great shootout.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
One thing I want to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I love that there was the little bit, again, on the same vein that Ruggs was talking about like, it's original, but not wholly original. We did have that John Carpenter's The Thing scene where everyone had to eat a clove of garlic to prove that they're not a vampire.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I thought it was one of them for a second. I thought it was going to be the girl.
I was so convinced it was going to be the fucking singer girl.
Yeah, Pearline, but it wasn't. But that was great. And it's the usual vampire rules, right? Like garlic water, stakes through the heart, sunlight, silver.
Is that a thing too, where you have to invite them in?
Yes, they have to be invited in.
The only thing that most things don't really follow anymore is it used to be that they couldn't cross moving water.
Oh.
I don't know what that's from, but that was like a very old vampire like lore thing. It was like garlic, stake through the heart, silver, sunlight, and they couldn't cross moving water, and they had to be invited into your home.
Yeah, the water thing's dumb. You can ignore that.
Yeah, Dracula was on a boat. So.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, let me. This is actually where I'm going to jump in on the ending.
Yes.
So the movie bookends itself with the beginning of the movie is actually the end.
Yeah.
Where you see like the blues kid, what's his name? Sammy go into the church, and they're like, priest is basically like, see what happens?
Yes.
What happens when you go outside?
Devil
kid.
music.
And I love that he like has gone through this entire night, and he's holding the guitar of like an abusive father.
Yeah.
And he's like, it fucked things up that I'd played my music, but it was such a great time.
Yeah.
That I'm going to abandon the church and follow my passion.
Like you're waiting for him to let it go, right? He's
that aspect of him constantly being told, drop the guitar.
Like
it's not even a guitar. It's the neck of a guitar at this point.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, I was so convinced from the beginning of the movie that he had killed the head vampire with the neck of the guitar like a stake.
That's what I thought.
And that was why he wouldn't let go of it. The fact that that's not what it is, honestly, I love even more.
It's more symbolic because the shot of him holding it, and you're like, is he going to let it go? Is he going to let it go? And he does not. Anyways, we get the clan attacking. Smoke has fucking Tommy guns, kills them all, but gets hit. And as he's dying, you get nice closure.
He grenades a truck.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
And I love that not only does he throw the grenade in the truck, when he throws it in the truck, he hits the driver in the face with it.
They're like, oh, shit. But as he's dying, he sees Annie and the baby, and he's reunited. Some nice emotional closure.
With one of my favorite written lines in this movie, I will say.
What is that?
So as he's sitting there, he asked the guy who sold them the place for a cigarette because he couldn't roll his own because he never could.
Yeah.
And he's smoking it, and he looks over and he sees Annie with their child who died in infancy.
Yeah.
And she calls him by his actual name, Elijah.
Right.
She says, Elijah, if you want to hold the baby, you have to get rid of that cigarette. I don't want you getting any of that smoke on her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
His name's Elijah. I also love the line where the guy goes, "You guys brothers?" And then you go, "Nah, we cousins." It's fucking funny. So let's get to
Ain't
that.
no boys here, just men with men money.
Yeah. Let's get to that mid-credit scene because
Which should have been the ending, as we all
should have
said.
been the ending. We pick up in 1992 Chicago, and you have legendary Chicago blues musician Buddy Guy playing in Old Sammy, who's seemingly had a long and successful blues career. And who walks in? Fucking Stack and Mary, dressed up like they just got out of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or some shit.
Great costumes.
In 90s clothes. And then we learn
that fucking sweater, dude.
that sweater.
I
was
want
wild.
that sweater.
The sweater is great. The hair, everything was so good. And they reveal that fight between Smoke and Stack. Smoke lets him go and told him, just leave Sammy alone for the rest of his life. I will let you go free. And he does. And they show up and they offer him vampire immortality now. But Sammy's like, you know what? I've seen enough. I'm good.
I love the fact that Stack tells him, you know, you're getting old. You might die soon. I can prevent that.
Yeah.
But you know he's only offering that because he knows Sammy won't say yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it seemed like an empty gesture because is it that? Why would he do it now? And they just want him to play on his old guitar, old Delta blues song, and he does. And I love that line where Sammy tells him, he goes, "It was the greatest day of my life until the sun went down." And Stack was like, "Me too."
Yeah, I loved that. It's like when the movie ended, I went, this was pretty good. And I'm glad I knew that there was a mid-credit scene because once the mid-credit scene played and it played out, I went, wow, that was awesome. Because I love that, like, they both sit there and they acknowledge, like, this was one of the best nights of their life.
Yeah.
Despite all the terrible shit that happened.
Yeah.
Like, it's about the music and, like, how they both got all the characters, even the vampires, get lost in, like, this thing. That was it's a music story.
Yeah.
Well, when you play music in front of people for the first time and you're experiencing that feeling where you're, Imran, you were in a band.
There's an energy there that goes back and forth between
and you'll never forget
the crowd.
it. You never forget it.
It's electric. It's wild, and you feed off of it, and it goes back and forth.
Let me ask you, because I've played music in front of a crowd, but never like to the point where I was controlling a crowd. And I think some of you guys might have experience of that. Like, does it feel like you're like levitating almost? And
oh yeah,
like does it feel like out of body?
Yes.
The moment that you can interact with a crowd and you can get them to respond to your command.
Yeah.
It is that moment where, like, going back to things like Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah.
Like you can say this is the moment where you feel like a god.
I mean, the feeling I've had a couple of times is that you lock in and the music and everything almost becomes automatic. Second nature. Yeah, you're not even thinking about it. It's happening, and you feel the energy coming back from the crowd reciprocating, and it just all kind of connects. And it is like a little out of body, a little floaty, and you always want to get back to that feeling. You always kind of chase that high. I mean, like dudes like Freddie Mercury, that whole Live Aid thing where he's doing the call and response with the crowd, literally controlling a crowd. This is the power of music. And this movie gets it.
The thing that I love about this ending scene too is that he breaks out the old guitar, which he had refurbished, had rebuilt, essentially, as we can understand.
Yeah,
and he's playing for Stack again. It calls back to the fact that the first time we see Sammy actually play, it's just him and Stack in the car.
Oh yeah,
and he's just playing a song for his cousin, and his cousin responds with, "Oh my God, this is fucking great.
I love the look on his face.
And then it cuts back to the fact that it's just this man who has built a career off of being this widely renowned blues musician, just playing a song for his cousin with no one else. I mean, Mary's there, but just it's not meant to be a moment for a crowd. It's not meant to be a performance outside of just, showing your cousin, I can still fucking do it, man.
Yeah.
And it's one of those moments. I think that's the moment that like really, really cemented this movie for me, because with the two of them as being vampires and everything, it really plays on this idea of like the vampirism wasn't the monstrosity. It wasn't the enemy. It was just Remick and the way he used it.
Sure.
Right. I was going to say too, like the fact that you guys that have played music could feel that moment where he's like, you can understand why he would say that was the best night of his life.
Yeah.
Makes the movie even more for me like, oh yeah, like they nailed that note on
why
the movie.
He could come back to his father who told him, like, I told you the devil would come for you. Just drop the guitar neck, renounce the devil, and we can have a nice life. And his attitude is, I fucking can't.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what evil came from the night that I went for. Everything beyond that was worth it to have dealt with this nightmare.
Right.
Well, I mean, the thing is the thing about it is there is no right or wrong to it. Like his father is completely right in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah,
like
drew the devil.
Yeah.
It literally did.
But like, think about music. What happens in music? People get people die, like Jimi Hendrix died.
Yeah.
People
People do a lot of drugs to music.
The 27 Club is a thing.
It feels like, your base instincts and primal things, and usually it leads to ruin. So he's not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, the House of the Rising Sun, we all know that one. But like, so there is this push and pull of like, are you living or what are you doing? Are you living safely? Are you living dangerously? What are you doing? What is freedom? What is that? What is that? So it asks a lot of questions.
And
I think it's,
I want to add on to that real quick. And I think what I've been marinating with is like, what does the title mean?
Right.
And I think what the title means is to truly live a fulfilling life. At some point, we are all sinners.
Right. Everyone, you have to sin.
You have to, because like you won't get a taste of like what life can truly be unless you've experienced like the good and the bad.
Right. You're not living. Yeah.
Right.
There are two
sinners?
sides to every coin.
Yeah.
And to only live on the one side is not to be the full coin.
Right.
well, I think something like Jesus said that, everybody does it. He cast the first stone, right? Like everybody everybody's constantly sinning.
And so many aspects of religion are based on the concept of forgiveness of sin, because they recognize that life without it is not life.
Yeah, and that's why there's church in this. Like there's a church aspect to this. So I mean, he's got all the bases covered.
Yeah.
Man, it's fucking deep. Yeah, it's so thoughtful. Anthony, Oscar contention. Do you see it? What do you think it's gonna get?
So yeah, I touched upon this because I don't know if you guys know this, but Anthony Polanski is back.
Oh shit!
Oh, no. Oscar Ant is back.
I'm very excited. Gerald
So
Moore's
let me just give you a quick Oscar thought. Normally, movies in April aren't Oscar baity, but there have been in recent times movies that were released in April that got nominated for Best Picture. I think this is clearly, obviously, one of the better movies of the year thus far. It's hard to say like what it'll win because there's so much of the movie schedule left, and a lot of the Oscar type movies get released later in the year.
Right.
That said, I would be very surprised if this is not a Best Picture nomination, because of the fact that it's a genre film, but much more, and we're seeing a lot of genre films get nominated. Ryan Coogler also already has like a lot of cachet with the Academy because he got Black Panther nominated.
Yes.
We have that, and the fact that it's like got an A cinema score, that's never happens, and just the overall fan appeal.
Yeah.
I think that's all in play. And then I think a lot of like what you would call the below the line categories are definitely in play. I think best director is in play for him. Maybe like best actor, best supporting. I think, but the below the line stuff for sure, like score,
costumes, music,
cinematography, costumes, music, casting, the new category, like those are all definitely in play.
I mean, these
Set
are
design.
I mean, Ludwig Göransson, Ruthie Carter, these people have gotten Oscar nominations working with Coogler and in the past. So absolutely, I can see a bunch of nominations. Could it be possible? Could Michael B. Jordan be nominated for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor for the same movie?
That's a good question.
Could that happen? That would be fucking wild.
But on that note, I would say one of the things, just to wrap up a bow on my Coogler thoughts, is I think what he nails in a lot of his movies is like the little like details in terms of like set and music. Like music is a huge part of like all his movies.
Yeah.
And like the technical aspects, I think he is like at what, you know, like Bill Simmons says this all the time, but like at the peak of his powers, where he's like, he is like operating at a very high level when it comes to like technical craftsmanship of making a movie.
Absolutely. He's, like you said, he's up there with like your Nolans for technical stuff, but he is in the conversation with Nolan, with Tarantino, with Spike Lee. This reminds me of like early Spike Lee when he's getting his groove going. Denis Villeneuve, Matt Reeves. The man is, with his 5th movie, is absolutely in the conversation with these movie rugs.
Well, like he's following the same path. He's got to pull off another like 10 to 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
But like he's on the path.
Dude, his plan, like everything he's done has been so methodical, and he knows what he wants. He has a clear plan and he's following it business wise, technical wise, creative wise. It's quite remarkable. It's very exciting to watch this guy right now. Ruggs, is this the best vampire movie we've had in a while?
I'm not even going to address that. But let's just talk about Ryan Coogler for a second.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler is now, this is his first original movie that's not, besides Fruitvale Station,
Correct.
that's not based on another IP existing or another studio. So, you know, Fruitvale, very straightforward. The Creed movie, very straightforward.
Fruitvale, though, is also based on real events. So this is first.
Yes, real events, but straightforward movie. Marvel, straightforward, pretty much. So he's not known for like being this like kind of auteur like guy who's like going off the beaten path. He's kind of like everything's kind of on rails when he's doing his thing directorially. He's doing technical things and all that stuff, but this is the first time we get to see a little bit behind the curtain a little bit.
This is the first Coogler to come out in a movie.
Yeah.
It's like the first.
And the question you have to ask yourself, you know, because, you know, I see like a lot of Tarantino here. I see aspects of like making a period piece, but not really a period piece, making a movie that shifts into another movie with vampires in it, talking about pussy. You know, like, you know, having those conversations and overall, like, yeah, like this kind of like almost like a hang with them, like in a lot of Tarantino just hanging with them. So a lot of aspects of Tarantino, I see it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see where he goes from here, like but at the end of this movie, you just have to ask yourself, have you been Coogled? And I have been Coogled by the Coogler.
Coogled the shit out of this.
Yeah, he Coogled me. And so I was Coogled. Now, is it the best vampire movie? I think it's a great vampire movie, but not the best.
Okay.
I think there's so many good vampire movies, and I could list a shitload of them. But you know, Interview with a Vampire is a great movie, and it's got a lot of themes that also in that.
Sure.
You got the Dracula movie.
Yeah.
You got Near Dark. You got fucking John Carpenter's Vampires, which is fucking legendary.
What about the Eddie Murphy vampire movie?
30 Days of Night. Yeah, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Vampire in Brooklyn. Yeah.
There's a lot of good vampire. Let Me In, Let the Right One In, both the same fucking movie, both great movies. So there's tons of vampire movies that are great. Lost Boys, let's not forget about Lost Boys.
Yeah.
If there's a guy playing a saxophone with his shirt off, you know you got something good going on there.
That's the greatest scene in movie
history. And let's not forget Fright Night. Both versions are
But
good.
I feel like this elevates itself, the genre, over those movies by what he's done here.
Well, let me defend the other movies.
Yeah.
This isn't straight up like it's not just straight up vampire movies.
No.
So
Right.
like in that sense, it is better.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, it should be better because he's taking inspiration. He's taking all the best things from other movies and putting them together. So like with the benefit of hindsight, like, yeah, it's going to be like up there. Like, is it the best? I don't know if you can say it's the best because he had he has time on his side.
Right.
Not only that, but he's all these other vampire movies that came before
Right.
him.
Yeah.
That he could draw from.
Exactly.
And yeah.
So
Yeah.
well, there were flying blind out there in the beginning.
Ruggs, let's start the wrap up with you. Give me your final thoughts and a number.
Whoa.
You got more? Oh,
You don't even ask me what I fucking think
I was going to get to you. About
about
vampire?
it compared to other vampire
Yes.
movies. God damn it, Imran.
jump in there, Delhauer.
I don't have a whole lot to say. In all honesty, it was going to boil down to if Ruggs hadn't brought it up, I was going to say we are not going to compare this to the most wonderfully gay vampire movie of all time, Lost Boys.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things where in the aspect of do we see it going to the Oscars and everything like that. I see this movie immediately being in contention for best score, best original song.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography is probably going to be a very high watermark for this one, as well as directing. Depending on what we see come along for the rest of the year, I could see it going for best picture as well, because I think this is a fantastic movie just overall. But the Oscars love to give the middle finger to horror films.
But the substance
got a nod.
That's the thing. Yeah, the Substance last
Opened
year.
it
You also,
up.
it's like in
The Substance last year, and before the Substance,
Get Out.
But the movie but the girl who fucked the fish, that one.
Was that a horror movie?
was that a horror movie?
Yeah, it was horror. Yeah.
Or did it just have monster fucking?
That one,
I
Shape
think
of Water. I would say Get Out. It's very similar, and I think it's the
yeah.
buzz around this movie is very similar to Get Out.
Yeah.
I would see that. So it's very rare, but 2 in a row, not usual. But I could see it being this time, and I hope
It's a new academy, Delhauer. They're inviting more and more people.
Yeah. they're
there's at
opening it
least
up.
one woman in it.
At least there's one person of color in there somewhere.
All right, let's move
There's
on.
a little Jordan Peele in here though too, but he's pulling from the same inspiration. So, okay. Ruggs,
boy.
final thoughts. Give me a number.
I'm gonna say 8.5. Yeah, I think it's excellent. It's an excellent film.
All right. Anthony.
Well, initially when I first saw the movie, I went, "This is a 8."
Yeah.
And then I thought about it more, and it's one of those movies that if you when I watched the movie and then thinking about it for the show and then talking to you guys about it, it's the type of movie that where you go, man, similar to music, where when a good movie hits and you get to experience that with other people,
Yes.
it's transcendent. And I'm not saying this is the best movie of all time. I'm just saying it's a damn good movie that is fun to watch with people in a big screen. And it makes you go, damn, there's still people out there that are putting, as much as this show is based around comic book stuff.
Right.
It's really fun when you get a movie that's not based on original IP with a great director and a great cast, and it actually hits. So the more I thought about this movie and the more I talked about it, even with you guys throughout, it just makes me more excited, and I want to go see it again. I plan to actually go see it at some point at an Alamo Draft House in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because those are, I want to go to that theater, and I also want to experience it with a movie going audience, a big time movie going audience. So yeah, I think it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's minor criticisms I have about the way the story plays out and some of the mechanics that we pointed out here, but damn, it's one of those movies where you're I love where you could play that clip of what's his name, Blake Braden or whoever the hell it is, going,
I fucking loved it.
No, I love this movie. It's just
love this movie.
exactly.
Yes,
It's just it makes you fall in love with movies or art in general.
Yeah. Delhauer, give me a number.
I'm going 9.5, baby.
Whoa.
I'm going high on this one because I walked out of this movie. This was one of those instances that reminded me what fucking going to the movie theater felt like.
Absolutely.
I loved this film. I loved everything about it. There are moments where I can pick shit apart, sure, but I don't fucking care that much about that. It's why it didn't get a 10. But being in a theater where I got to experience not only the movie, but the audience got so into this movie.
Yeah.
I guarantee you people in that theater went home and they fucked because of this movie.
It's a horny movie.
And it was just the moment where Sammy went to go play his song and Delroy Lindo tells him tell him who you are and where you're from.
Oh, yeah.
A guy halfway across the theater went, I'm from fucking Brooklyn. And everybody cheered. And I'm like, I'm not even mad that happened. Goddamn right you are. This is an experience for people to be in.
Yeah.
I'm going to see this movie in the theater a second time with people. This felt like this is The Godfather coming out to me.
Yeah.
Because we have been stuck in this weird studio aspect of what filmmaking is for a while now. And this is a director who knows what he wants, made what he wanted, and came out to say, fuck your system. This is what filmmaking should be. And I 100% agree with that.
Well, yeah, you should go out and see this movie, support this movie, because it is something new and something original, not an IP, and it's a director's vision. So I think support it.
Well, one thing, and then Imran, you can get your thoughts. One thing to point out too is it is a movie where it's like bucking the trend.
Yeah.
But don't forget, he worked with Warner Brothers to do this movie. Like he found in a major studio to be like, yep, go out and do this.
Warner Brothers that has given us all those shitty DC movies. He got them to agree to his terms. Yeah, no, I agree with all you guys. This is an experience. You need to watch this in the biggest screen you can find with the best sound. It's the reason it's full use of the medium of film. It elevates the genre. It's outside of the vampires. It is a fucking amazing period piece. And like I said, all these guys, they're working at peak levels of talent. Everything's firing. I give this a 9. I want to see it again. Because it's just that good and rich and textured, and the soundtrack is dope. I listened to some of it on Spotify. It's just, it's refreshing. And to your point, it's refreshing the timing of this, that we get a break from.
We need more movies like
this.
We need
100%.
Yes.
In the same spirit.
Absolutely. Where are these auteur directors? Give them a chance.
Well, just a quick plug. The movie, one of the trailers that came out before this movie that Warner Brothers is releasing is the new PTA movie, One Fall After Another.
Is that with DiCaprio, right?
Yeah. That looks fucking good.
That looks interesting. You know what's funny is Warner Brothers had 2 other movies with actors playing multiple roles, and they both flopped. There was the Alto Nights with De Niro playing 2 characters. Nobody went to see that. And then Mickey 17 had like 17 Robert Pattinsons. That didn't work. But 2 Ryan Cooglers. 2 Michael B. Jordans, 1 Ryan Coogler.
Michael B. Jordan and Michael C.
And
Jordan?
Michael C. Jordan. All the Michael Jordans and Ryan Coogler will make it happen.
Yeah. Go get Googled, everybody.
Everybody should
Get yourself Googled.
Get yourself Googled. You won't be disappointed. Okay, let's do some news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
I missed that fart. I just got a couple of comments from our listeners from our Facebook group about Sinners. Jamie Robinson of the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast says, the first hour is very slow, but once the little Irish cracker showed up, the pace got better. The giant sing-along version of Rocky Road to Dublin was a nice touch, too. And then Jose Ibarra says, I saw this movie on Friday and really couldn't stop thinking about it all weekend. Coogler curated a gem. I fucking loved it. I have to respectfully disagree with Rug Boy about the music scene. It did not take me out of the movie or feel out of place. In fact, that scene made me feel more immersed in the film and connect with Coogler's vision even more. The whole culture vampire/vampire allegory really connected even more when Remick is feeling all of that and immediately looks at it as something to exploit. He wants to use it for personal gain and basically suck the soul out of Sammy's gift, which has happened for generations of many cultures, but black culture more than any. Yeah, culture vampire to actual vampires. It's brilliant. It's so layered, nuanced.
I do also find it funny that the chorus of that song is him saying, "Someone take me in their arms tonight."
Oh,
in which it's the aspect of basically just he clearly was telling the woman he wanted to fuck, "Please fuck me," and instead it turned into a vampire just being like, "Oh, I'll come get you."
It's great. All right. We're going to do quick what are we watching because we must discuss the newest episode of Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Big fucking spoilers because the whole moment everybody's been warning us about not to get spoiled has happened. Anthony, you just watched it. Take us through. What did you think? We have a giant horde invasion that is on Game of Thrones battle level. Cinematography and action is fucking wild. And at the same time, I'm just going to say it, Abby finds and murders Joel in the second episode. So I guess Pedro Pascal not going to be overexposed after all because he did. Holy shit.
Yeah, for those that I've been teasing this for those that haven't played the game, especially amongst you guys, is like this is the big thing that happens in the game to start is Joel gets fucking murdered brutally. And I'm glad that they didn't drag this out like they did with Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Where we knew what was going to happen in that season and they dragged it out for an entire season and then pushed it to another season.
Yes, that was
glad
annoying.
they just got it out of the way. The invasion of the Horde, I think, is a new thing. Overall, I enjoyed the episode because it's a punch to the gut. It also puts the entire, like everybody in there, like at ground zero because the town is destroyed.
Yeah.
What's her name? Just saw Joel get murdered in front of her.
Jesus. Yeah.
And you can also, although like, what's the girl that murders her?
Abby.
Like Abby's pretty evil in that scene, but also like similar to when we talked about Heather being a really, really shittily written in Daredevil.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Abby. I understand why she did that.
Look, Joel killed her father and she took out kind of Ellie's quote unquote father.
Right.
I didn't know how it was going to play out. I did not think Ellie would be there to see it.
She sees it in the game too.
Okay. I thought maybe Abby would tell her because isn't there some point where Abby and Ellie like joined forces? And I'm like, how the fuck are she going to come back from this with Ellie? Because she just wants to kill her. Ruggs, what'd you think of this episode 2?
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good. I felt like, oh, this shit's going down. Yeah, I mean, this does. I'm like, okay, you can end the season now. You've told the story,
but it's the catalyst for like the story.
No, it's
now.
just getting going now.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm wondering where it's going to go from here, and it's crazy. So
I mean, I've heard a lot of people are.
You got like these two mirror images of the same girl, like they almost look alike. Kind of like they're the same, kind of similar stature, and they're going to be going head to head against each other. But then I don't know. I feel like once Ellie finds out that what he did and how he kind of fucked up everybody.
Right.
Does Abby even know that that's the girl that was supposed to save everybody?
I don't know. But when Ellie finds out what he did, that he killed her father, would she then be like, okay, well, I guess I understand. But she's been pissed at him, and this is how he goes out.
I mean, when she finds out that she ruined the cure for everybody, that Joel ruined the cure for everybody.
I think, I don't know. I think
because
yeah.
Ellie is like the freaking the prize, right? She's the fucking MacGuffin.
So we think she knows now that Joel's dead. I think she knew what he did, and that's where the vibe I'm getting is that she knew. Yeah,
that was the rift between them.
Yeah.
May I jump in for a moment? Now, I haven't seen the episode, but I have played the second game, so I know the concept of the story.
Yeah.
The thing that I find interesting about what they're doing with the show so far is, as I have known from watching the first episode, is they're at least giving the backstory of Abby as to who she is, connected to the Fireflies and her father in these first 2 episodes before it leads to the death of Joel.
Because in the game, doesn't she just like show up and kill Joel and you don't know who she is?
In the game, when you're playing, you first play as Joel, who is telling Tommy the whole story about what happened at the Fireflies.
Yeah.
And then Tommy promises, I won't tell anyone what happened.
Okay.
And that then leads to them like riding back to camp, and he gives Ellie the guitar. And this is back like maybe a couple days or weeks after the original game, because she's still like, 11 or 12 years old.
Oh, right.
The game then jumps forward to where she's 19 and he's even older, blah, blah, blah. And it does the whole thing about, it follows Ellie the day after the party that they have where she and Dina kiss.
Yeah.
And Seth is a homophobe about it.
Yeah.
And you follow them as they're out on patrol. They're going out. They're seeing what's going on. The whole thing at the supermarket happens with the clickers.
Yeah.
And then they wind up off at the library where whatever his name was, the guy who was growing weed.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently had his stash.
Yeah.
They wind up there.
They go there in this episode.
The snowstorm picks up. They smoke some weed. They wind up making out. And then it cuts to Abby and her friends held up in the ski lodge.
Right.
And you then play as Abby.
Whoa.
Moving your way through the storm when the horde shows up. She then meets up with Joel and Tommy. They fight their way to try and get away, and she brings them back to the ski lodge, being like, oh, I've got a place where we can stay. And then they attack Joel and Tommy. It hard cuts to you playing as Ellie again, trying to track down Joel, where you wind up in there and you watch them kill Joel in front of you.
Yeah, so they changed Joel and Tommy to Joel and Dina, and Jesse is with Ellie. But, bro, that whole scene where they start coming out of the snow, and then the fence, she's crawling under the fence.
The fence crushing on top of her was a moment from the game, and that is intense.
Yeah, that was wild. And then when the cordyceps are coming through the pipes and he hits it, and you see the whole horde turn.
Oh, that's not even a thing in the
it's
game.
Fucking
that's a thing for the show.
It's so good. It's like it's like Red Wedding, Game of Thrones, Battle of Winterfell level.
I'll say from what I saw in the first episode, the whole thing with Dina trying to like get closer to Joel, and like trying to have this daughter-father connection with him.
Yeah,
it wasn't in the game, and I find it a little iffy at the moment for the show. Like, I haven't seen the second episode or any of the other the rest of the season, so I don't know how it's going to play out. But it's like, it's weird to me in the sense that we are trying to make it that Dina is trying to get close to Joel, or that we have Joel like trying to work through what he did through therapy.
Yeah.
Because as I understand it from the game, a big part of what we are meant to understand about Joel is he is meant to be a representation of a very stoically but also toxically masculine concept of people.
Okay.
That while we played as him as the main character in the first game, what we recognize is we have to fully accept as time goes on that Joel is not entirely a good person.
Right.
He has good intentions at times, and we can understand what he's doing, but it doesn't mean that he is a good man.
No,
ultimately.
And he knows, like in the show, he knows, like Abby tells him why she's killing him, and he doesn't really even have a response for it.
And that's
knows.
sort of that moment in the game too, that the moment he realizes he kind of realizes who Abby and their friends are, he has this moment of just being like, oh,
yeah,
yep,
I'm fucked.
This was going to happen eventually.
That is something I did. And this is the repercussion.
But the big thing is that from the game, what you come to like experience is as you would with Ellie. This is a shock, and you don't fucking get what's happening,
right?
Because in the game, they don't tell you who Abby and her friends are.
Yeah.
They just kill Joel.
Yeah, they're doing better.
And you get an idea this had to do with his past, and maybe it had to do with the Fireflies.
Yeah.
But that's it.
See, I think,
and then as the game goes on, you start to really understand what's going on and who they are.
Yeah.
And then eventually you wind up playing the game for a while as Abby. I won't get into details about anything,
Murdering
but it gives you the ability to then start to connect with her and who she is and why, to really get this both sides of the story.
So this is a good like update adaptation. It's a good change. I think it makes more sense that we get her motivation.
I'll have to watch the episode, but from what I've been seeing,
fucking good.
They are trying to really kind of get rid of that harsh divide that a lot of gamers fucking rebelled against when this game came
a lot
out.
of people did not like the second game.
Well, I've read also with this show, a lot of people are done with the show because once they killed Joel, they got mad instead of like,
Yeah, you like Joel.
Yeah.
You don't want to play as Joel.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Fuck, it's good, man. So far.
It's because there's so much of the second game and what will be in the second season and third season probably that you can boil down to a very basic storyline of revenge is bad. But I think the problem is a lot of people are going to miss the subtleties of how it's presented and the concept of essentially playing on sometimes you have to be willing to hear the point of view of the other side of a conflict that especially being released in June of 2020, no one wanted to fucking listen to.
It's a good point. I can't wait for the rest of this season.
Yeah, I felt like we had to bring up that episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Everybody's
I will
talking
say,
about this.
I think The Last of Us Part 2 is one of my favorite video games in the past 10 years. I'm interested to see how the show tackles it because so many people fucking hate it. And I have had to be on my back foot defending this game for 5 years.
Yeah.
So trying to see how do they make it more approachable.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that kind of has this knee-jerk reaction of, fuck you, don't make it more approachable. If they can't handle it, they can fuck off.
Oh, they got a chance to iron things out.
I mean, you can't really be mad at people for they kill off the main character that you want them to follow.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you know, I can understand that.
It is an aspect where I get it.
Right.
But it's also, I ask people to essentially be like, look, man, can you trust the people who made this, who also made the thing you like, to tell a story that's worthwhile?
It's the same guy.
Away from being like, well, you killed the guy I like, so fuck you.
No, it's the same guy making the show as the game, so you got to trust him. And look, they did it with Ned Stark in Game of Thrones, and then look, the results were great.
Yeah, but you didn't follow Ned Stark for an entire season.
No, that's true.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, most of season 1, right? I don't know.
They cut his head off at the end of season 1.
Yeah, so the whole season. But you did love Joel. I'm gonna miss Joel. All right, look, next week's assignment here. If you're looking,
and I'll say this as a minor spoiler.
Yeah.
He's gonna come back in flashbacks, and you know it.
Oh, maybe, sure,
of course.
You will get overexposed.
They're not paying Daddy Pedro.
Pedro Pascal did not get paid for 2 episodes.
Come on, he's done in 2 episodes. What am I watching for now? Anyways, look, this week, if you're looking for stuff to watch, by the time you hear this, Andor season 2 will have premiered on Disney Plus. It's a Tuesday release. Here's the crazy release schedule. 12 episodes. They're putting out 3 episodes a week for 4 weeks.
Wow.
So it's like 4 Star Wars movies coming out, one every week. And the initial reviews and shit are out, and everybody is saying that it's just amazing. So, Anthony, if you can stomach 3 episodes of Andor next week.
I'll watch it.
Okay. Because we also have Havoc on Netflix, but we might save
Andor.
that. We'll save that for later. We'll do Andor. I'm hearing amazing things about
Please bring me back for Havoc.
Okay. I'm hearing amazing things about Andor season 2, like not just the best Star Wars show, but just the best show. So I can't wait for this little Star Wars marathon over the next 4 weeks.
One thing I would like to recommend.
Yes.
I just finished watching the Devil May Cry series on Netflix.
Oh, is that the live action?
No, it's an
animated.
anime version from Adi Shankar, who did the Castlevania series on Netflix.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it, but I will put this, I guess, warning on it. It is very heavily steeped in the story of refugees coming into America.
Oh.
So if you don't like that, number 1, fuck off. Number 2, it's not really heavily tied to the way that the Devil May Cry games tell stories. They're not massively political in the way that they go about. So the fact that the show may turn some of the people who love the games off. But I think it was very well done, and I think it's worth seeing.
Okay.
It is also heavily steeped in a early 2000s style of action.
Oh.
It is a lot of nu metal music set to cool guy action scenes with the main character basically being like a hyper violent version of Bugs Bunny.
Oh, shit.
So if that's your thing, enjoy it. If that's not your thing, don't bother.
Rugsy into Devil May Cry.
I played the games. They're good. They're fun.
Okay.
I was thinking about watching it, but I'm steeped in other stuff right now. So
there is a lot of stuff to watch. Delhauer, thanks for hanging out with us. It's so glad to hear from you when you're not bitching about a shitty movie.
Always love being here.
You got anything you want to plug for the listener? You don't do anything?
I don't think we have anything coming along in the near future. So just give me your love and support and tell me I'm a pretty, pretty boy.
You're a pretty boy. Send him good vibes. Rugs, where can the people find you online?
Rug Boy Show. Follow me on Twitter.
On Twitter or X, link to that in the show description. Anthony, what are you doing this week? Anything fun?
Oh, fuck, you ruined my plans. I have to sit down and watch 3 hours of Andor.
Yes, now you got to watch 3 hours of the best Star Wars thing ever. I don't think you'll be sorry. Hopefully. Sounds good.
You never know.
All right, Anthony will be watching Star Wars. And always, you can check out our website, jockandnerd.com, for all those links, how to get in touch, how to support. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
I love this movie.
Thing I offered you a chance to be a cop, and you blew it.
Jock and Nerd